Watch that booty go.
SWB audio capture, not registered. Watch that booty go. Watch that booty go.
Yo, what a day, man. Just when you thought that last night's show was fire and we went on a crazy 3-hour amazing show, I want to thank everybody for tuned in last night. Today happens. First, I want to shout out all the VIP grinders. We had an epic show last night, over 120 likes. We had giveaways over about $100. Thank you to Who Are You VIP grinder. We had new grinders join the VIP booth. Tools officially in house. Tools, I will add you to here. Sorry, this craziness happened today. You will be added to the Herman Holt splits. But we're gonna have to add some more people in the back room actually after today's news of Microsoft just announcing the inevitable that Phil said, and basically they bought Activision Blizzard, and they're proposing for $70 billion with a B. My goodness, and it has the gaming world shook. There's so many questions. Again, this is just on a super highest scale than what went on with the Blizzard acquisition, and now we're sitting here with this with the Bethesda one, the ZeniMax one, and now we're sitting here with this one, and I got Frogs. Hey, what's up, Frogs? How you doing, man? A crazy morning, man. Almost spit out my coffee.
And when I woke up this morning, I kept hearing my phone go off. It kept going off. I said, "Why is Twitter going off?" And I got up and looked, and it was like 10 missed things. I was like, "What the hell?" And then it came up and it came up with the news, and I was like, "Nah, somebody's trolling." Then I saw it on another site, and I was like, "Oh shit,
yeah, man,
this is real,
dude." I had to do a double take of the Phil Quill. I was like, "Is this the real Xbox account? Like, is this the real Xbox account stuff? Like, what the hell's going on?" And then the fact is, dude, I went and then I saw the whole Xbox wire, which I'll be showing in a little bit, where they just went into this. I'm like, I can't believe that they bought it.
My wife it was like early this morning. I told my wife, she was like asleep, and I was like, "Hey, guess what?" And I told her the news. She was like, "Oh, I guess we won't be playing that game anymore." I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, no, it's funny. I told my wife too, and I was like, she's like, "What's happened?" And I'm like, "Microsoft bought Call of Duty." She goes, "What?" And she doesn't even game at all. She's just like, she just knows Call of Duty and going, "What?"
She knows Call of Duty's a big deal.
Yeah, like they bought. Basically, that's what they bought. Like all the other stuff we could talk about, like just the IP that comes with it. But man, there's so many mixed emotions about what's going on because we. Just to get into the news, and I see all the grinders are getting in here, guys. Hit that like button as you get in here. I know there's so much stuff and so many different takes, dude.
I want to see if we can get. I know they said they might stop through Kids Move and Merck in here.
Yeah,
they said they might stop through.
Sure,
I don't want to get them in here because I know. Well, for a fact, Merck he had a different take. He kind of said I was gatekeeping, and we'll get into it a little bit.
Well, we'll there is a lot of mixed emotions, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of commotion. Like basically, it's like lifting up a rock, and there's a whole bunch of ants under there, and where are the ants? And we're just scurrying around, going, "What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?" I'm gonna tell you. You've come to the right place here because we're going to give it to you the way it is and not be around the bush about it and tell you how we honestly feel about it. But I'm going to tell you this. Don't take anything for face value. Nothing that Microsoft says, nothing that Phil Ness says in his quotes. I'm going to tell you right now, my upfront take, this is bad for PlayStation. This is bad for gaming.
It's not just for bad for PlayStation.
And Sony has to do something to respond. And I'm not saying buying publishers, but this is not good for PlayStation and Sony because their biggest third-party game that plays on their platform is now owned by their competition, and their competition is going to do what they feel is best for them in this. They'll give you some content, maybe they won't, and look what they did with Starfield. So this whole kumbaya, we're playing everywhere, don't worry, we're not touching it. Don't trust anybody. DTA. Put it in the chat. DTA. And that's the problem, and that's the thing. Like, this is a competitive move. Unfortunately, this is not something, when we ask for Microsoft to be competitive, this is not the route. They have changed the game with this. And now, I'm going to tell you right now, everything is up for sale. EA, Ubisoft, they're all Take-Two. Dude, the sky is the limit. And it sucks. But this is the game they're playing.
Apparently, there's a tweet from somebody in Microsoft, and they said, "If you think this is the biggest news we got today, there's more to come today."
Today, I'll get the. You know what? Again, don't believe anything what they're saying. All I know is that You can't trust anybody. DTA, they're going to make sure that this stays good. This doesn't close until June of 2023. So expect this Call of Duty to kind of stay in Game Pass and stuff, but next year, all systems go. My prediction of this thing, and we'll get into the prediction, but let's just get to the news here. But I'm just going to let you know right now, this is not good for gaming. This is not good for competition. But this is the game that Microsoft is playing. They are desperate to get Game Pass to where it needs to be, and this is the way to do it. And it shows. It wasn't naturally happening, so you buy. You go buy Ninja. You go buy Shroud. This is what it is. Ninjas, these are bigger than Ninjas and Shrouds, but this is what they do. They buy and buy and buy. And for all the IP that they're gaining from this, the stuff that we dream about, I don't think it's ever going to happen because Microsoft's not that kind of company. They're not going to take a Crash Bandicoot and bring it this and a Banjo and do the things that we as gamers want them to do with all these IPs. They're not going to because they haven't done this in the past.
They just want to buy it just to say they own
exactly.
it.
And that's it. They're not sitting here to revive Crash Bandicoot by the people that in a Crash Bandicoot Banjo-Kazooie team up and stuff. All the fun things that you would think like of this purchase of you would think comes about it. Like, id Engine working on Halo was like, I don't think none of this stuff is going to happen because this is not why they're buying this stuff. They're not buying this stuff to do this kind of things. All they need is content for a service that's struggling. And that's the truth of it. And let's go into the details. Okay, what's up, Frog?
Do you think that they even need it for content? Like, is Game Pass even a factor now because they have Activision? They really don't need a Game Pass now that they got Activision. They really don't. You got one of the biggest third-party games. You don't need a Call of Duty in the Game Pass to make Game Pass efficient enough.
Yes, you do. Now, yeah, you do because they need those kind of games in Game Pass to like a yearly game.
Remember I had said that before. I said Game Pass. I think I talked about it before. I said Game Pass doesn't have the Battlefields and the 2Ks and the Maddens.
Exactly. Next is at Madden. EA's next.
And I said when it does get that kind of stuff, that's when you have to say, "Holy shit!" And I didn't expect it to come this way, where they just straight out buy the whole company. I expected, maybe a deal with Activision. Activision probably said, "Look, it doesn't make sense to put it there," and Microsoft was like, "Well, we just buy your whole company." Okay, well, fuck it, And here's the thing, Des. I honestly do think EA is next. I think they're gonna buy EA next.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think EA is next because, and the reason I've been telling people this for probably a couple of years. EA and Microsoft work really close. And it's because they're American they're American and EA is American. Sony, EA, kind of. Sony built up EA to where it is, and so Sony built up a lot of stuff with the PlayStation brand. But what I'll say is like EA had good relations when Xbox Live became into fruition, and they finally jumped on board Xbox Live. Like they really went hard for Microsoft. And here's the thing: a lot of people may or may not realize, and I think Secure had pointed this out, and I pointed it out before in the past. A lot of hands exchange from Microsoft to different corporations that they end up working together. Because remember, where was Peter Moore? Peter Moore was at Microsoft. Where did Peter Moore go? To EA. And they exchange. And a lot of these companies, I think they do this is because they're so buddy that anytime they can pick them up. And Sekima pointed out, hey, some of the Microsoft guys
will go into Activision. Yeah, Rod.
And he's like, is it kind of just all of a sudden kind of weird that they just happen to purchase them? And I said, you gotta look at things like that and say, okay, who's at these companies from Microsoft or who used to be at Microsoft, who's at these companies? Because that's the indication they may buy these companies. And that's why I think EA is on the chopping board, and I think they're next.
Yeah, I think so. Dude, it's all off the table. Like it's all on the table now. Ubisoft.
It's big news and it's crazy news, but I do think it's bad for gaming.
Yeah,
I do think it. I don't know if it's. I think it's a monopoly. Maybe it's not. Maybe it can't be considered because this game is different. But I just look at a lot of things in a different light right now. I'm like, if Call of Duty does not come to PlayStation, let's just say in the future, that does hurt PlayStation because where does Call of Duty? Everybody's playing these league tournaments. They're playing on PlayStations. You know,
Yeah.
and does
Yeah,
that
you're
change
right.
your
That's a
mind?
good point. Yeah, because they had that partnership with
Right.
Activision. Yeah. So
And the partnership with Call of Duty, I think it's up 2026. I want to say because it's the 10-year deal. I think it was 2016 the deal started. So I want to say 2026. So I don't know if Microsoft is like, hey, play here in Game Pass day one, great, or you know, and it's still on PlayStation, or hey, it's no longer on PlayStation, and it's not because there's multiple ways they can spin this. They don't have to put Call of Duty in Game Pass, and they could just charge you that full $70. And people, let me tell you, Call of Duty guys will. There's so many different
Frog, they
variables
could
here.
do anything they want. They could leave Warzone on everything, but then only maybe put the
Oh my
campaign in
god!
Game Pass and give the multiplayer out like Halo style out to
Well,
multiplat.
multiplayer is the big portion of
But
it. If
maybe
anything,
they'll do that. Maybe they'll put the or maybe they'll take the annual Call of Duty franchise, put that in Game Pass exclusively, and just keep Warzone on PlayStation. Or
oh my
I
gosh!
don't think Warzone's going to get pulled off. I think that's going to stay.
No.
But
I
I
think the
do.
free to play model
But
stays.
dude, they could do anything they want. They could do a Crossfire X where they just put the Call of Duty campaign in Game Pass, a 6-hour campaign, and put the multiplayer everywhere. But the main thing is here is that Microsoft is in control over the biggest third party franchise that sells tons on
And
PlayStation. That's why
you
this is
know,
bad for them. And this whole purchase, I remember I had that gut feeling when they bought Bethesda. I was like, so this is what they're just gonna buy out third
just gonna buy
parties.
big.
They're just gonna
Yeah,
buy,
they're
and
gonna.
now
And that's why
a
I'm
year
surprised
later,
if you
this
see
is what they're doing.
Ubisoft on the
This is,
chopping block. Yeah, Ubisoft may be there. They may be on the
dude,
chopping
it's
block.
the only thing they can do. It's the only thing.
And
All
I
they could do
don't
is buy up third
understand.
party.
I don't understand. Me and Merck had this conversation, and Merck was like, "This is competition." And I was like, "How is this competition?" And he was like, "It's competition by nature." You know. And I was like, "Okay, that's like me saying me and you fight." So I said to Merck, I said, "That's like me and you get into a fight. You whoop my ass, and I go pay a bigger and stronger guy than me and you to go in the ring and whoop your ass to get the trophy. He goes in and whoops your ass, and I get the credit for it. Is that fair? That's not fair."
Frog, what they
Because
no,
I
what they
didn't.
did, they challenged. They basically said, "Hey, me and you are gonna fight in the parking lot," and then instead, what shows up at the parking lot, they hire like a robot or something like to fight you and stuff like that, and they sit back there and
Oh,
watch.
you see fucking the Rocker.
Yeah,
Fucking
like, oh no,
Triple
he's gonna fight you. I just hired him to fight you. No,
H. Like,
totally. This and like I said before, like this is not the competition that people wanted. And as gamers, like I said,
this is not.
this doesn't
This is not.
really add value to games. This is going to
What it
cause.
does is you're
It
throwing
doesn't
money
really do
around
that.
because you have the money. You're $1 trillion, $1 trillion company. The only people that can challenge you at this point, realistically, in the market space is saying there's only three companies, maybe four. The Google can challenge you. The Tencent can challenge you. The Apples can challenge you. The Amazon can challenge you. They know that Sony can't challenge them money wise, so they're like, "Fuck it, we'll just go buy." And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if the next thing you hear they're buying EA. At
Yeah,
that
they're
point,
gonna get mad in there too.
I would honestly say, at that point, if these games aren't multi-plat as far as being on PlayStation console, gaming as we know it is going to change, and it's going to eventually. I think we will have a gaming crash. People think that game. I had a buddy of mine tell me how great Game Pass was and how big it was and how successful it's going to be. It's the Netflix. He's the Netflix. I said, dude, Netflix doesn't make money. They break even. They break even. Because they owe so much money. They had like $8 billion in cash, but they owe like 16. They don't really make money. I said, the only one that makes money is like Disney Plus. Hulu wasn't that's why Disney bought Hulu because it wasn't making money, and they said, well, we'll buy it, we'll pay that debt off because Disney has a capital,
They're
you
buying it
know.
all. Yeah, they're buying
And
it
so my
all.
whole thing is like Microsoft is just throwing money around because they don't have the talent to go out there, and this is what I
They don't have the
explained to
talent.
Merck.
They're not making the games to compete
Out
against the
there, and
games.
they can
That's why as
they
gamers,
can
like really, like
Sony has an established history with Spider-Man. So to say that, well, I can't play Spider-Man on my PC or Xbox is gatekeeping. It's not because there's an established history with Sony and Spider-Man, that particular franchise. But what was to stop Microsoft from going out there and getting Wolverine? What was to stop them from going out there and get one of the X-Men?
But they're not
Or
thinking. See, but the thing
no,
is that they're
they have
not
the
thinking, Frog, on a gaming
content.
level. They're not thinking
They
about,
don't.
let me get a game to my
No,
platform. They're thinking about, we
no.
need games to come to our service. Like, that's why they're playing a bigger game than Sony's game. If you look at Sony's acquisitions, they're buying studios and they're having games output from the studios like a turnaround in a year. Microsoft is just scooping up the industry so that they are
Yep.
this umbrella publisher. And it doesn't sound like that they're breaking up Activision or they're breaking up Bethesda.
No.
They're
Letting
basically going to
Activision.
be Umbrella, allude to
Yeah.
Resident Evil. They're going to be Umbrella, and they're going to have all these big publishers under their Microsoft gaming umbrella. And with that, they're going to able to be the Netflix of gaming and push all this content through Game Pass. And that is the whole goal here. However, the people that are going to get hurt, the ones that are going to get the raw end of the stick, is now Sony,
The gamers.
the gamers, and
gamers.
us. Like, now, and the problem is that the market does not naturally want to go the route of subscription gaming. Well, I guess they
No,
do,
no.
but they're not going the route through Microsoft.
Not in the way that Microsoft wants
Exactly.
to do it.
They're not going through the route of Microsoft. Microsoft wants all subscription gaming to come through them. Well, that's not naturally happening. We went through the timeline of what Game Pass is since 2017. The problem is that they're not going through them. So Microsoft's like, well, guess what? We're going to have to buy you so you go through us. Now, when you make your games, you distribute them through our service. Because guess what? Nobody was sold on the Azure cloud. Nobody was sold on Phil Ness running around, kissing babies and hugging grandmas and saying, oh, I'm going to put my game over in Game Pass. Take-Two owner was like, I'm not putting my big games in Game Pass. Those are getting released on high
And
price.
here's the thing, and
You
I
buy
wanted to
'em.
bring that up now that you said that, because I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, they can counter with buying it." Microsoft,
Sony can't
Sony's not
counter.
gonna
Sony's not going
not
to
gonna
counter
buy.
this.
Number one, Sony's not going to buy Take-Two. Take-Two just bought Zynga for like 11 billion. Sony's not going to go. in
Sony's
there
not
and
doing
buy.
this.
No, they're not doing that. They're not playing that game.
Sony's not
like
going to
that.
play this game.
And
They're not playing this game.
and here's
It's
here's
unfortunate.
what's the
This is the thing.
unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is Sony makes partnerships with studios that make good games, and they build up their partnerships, and then they say we're gonna go ahead and acquire you because you've made games with us for a decade or
Yes.
two. And so when Insomniac is making some games for Sony for so long, they said we're gonna acquire you because you're making games for us. What? Microsoft is not like that. Microsoft is like, and this is what I try to explain. Microsoft didn't own Gears of War. They didn't make Gears of War. Epic did. They didn't own the franchise until Sony said, "Hey, the contract is up with Epic. It's you don't own it, so we just want to make it. We're gonna get it in our system too. It could be a multi-plat." And Microsoft said, "Oh shit, they're gonna get all the Gears of War's Oh shit, so it's gonna be a multi-plat. We'll just go in there and buy the whole franchise out. We'll create a whole new studio, which before the coalition they were named something else, and then we'll create a whole new studio and we'll let them make it because they didn't make that game." The only studio that Microsoft owned and made Gears is the 4 and the 5. They never made any of the Gears games. They didn't own it.
They didn't even
You know
own
what I'm saying?
Halo,
So-
dude. They bought it from Apple. Like they bought it from
No,
they
they
bought
bought
they will
it
make it for Apple. They took it away from Apple and they put it on
Yeah,
on
They
Xbox.
took from Apple, and then they had Bungie come and make it.
They-
And so,
yeah.
and then when Bungie left,
They-
and that's why when Bungie left, they couldn't take it because Microsoft's like, "Well, we own Halo, but you guys can have your own original IPs," and that's why And I'm just like, there's no studio that Sony can go out there and say, outside of maybe like an EA, which I don't think they're going to go and say, here's X billion dollars. We want to own you, EA. They're not built like that. That's not what they want to do. I do think that Microsoft wants to be able to control the narrative of hey, you have to have our service to play it. And Sony,
that's
guess
the
what?
game.
Now you gotta have Game Pass on your
Yep.
PlayStation.
And that's the long-term
that.
gameplay. And that's the
That's
thing.
the long.
They know that with Call of Duty selling the way, with these games selling the way they are, Sony is sitting pretty right now going, hey, you know what? They buy our games. We're not going to put your service on our platform. But guess what?
Well,
If
what do we do?
Microsoft
Take
says,
the
well,
third-party shooter IP from you.
we got all the third parties on our service. Well, guess what? Now Sony's like, well, we got all the exclusives. All right, well, let's put Game Pass on this service. And that's and Sony might do that. Like they might be forced to do that.
And you know
Not this
what,
year,
Jazz?
not next year,
And
but
here's-
5 or 6 years.
No,
If this
see-
continues, they buy EA, they
and
buy
here's- and
Ubisoft.
here's the
You're going
thing.
through Xbox no matter what.
Microsoft, I think they, like calculated as I say PlayStation and Sony is, Microsoft now, it's either even more calculated. They bought Bethesda, they bought all the Western RPG developers. Now, what did they do is they bought a company that makes most of the shooting, the Western
And they
shooters.
also make,
Don't
and a lot of the PC presence they're going to have,
right,
World of
and don't be
Warcraft
surprised.
and
The next thing they do is they say we buy EA,
sports. They need
we take
sports.
all
They
the
need all
sports
the
market
sports.
from you too. Why? Is because
Yep.
FIFA,
Oh yeah,
Madden.
and FIFA, they're going to lose the FIFA license anyway.
Oh,
EA is primed, and this is the other thing too I wanted to bring up.
same with
If
Madden. The license for
the
Madden
license is up, so EA is prime now for sale because their big licenses. They're like, look at what the way they purchase these companies, these publishers. They didn't publish Bethesda after Fallout 4. They published them after the trash of 76, and they were kind of on a downswing. And Prey was not doing it. Like Bethesda was on the down. Activision, worst Call of Duty. Yeah, it sold.
No, the sex scandals. And
yeah,
all
and also this Call of Duty Vanguard wasn't the biggest selling Call of Duty. It was actually one of the weakest ones in Vanguard. So it did sell, but it wasn't the Activision of having a high year. They were pretty much in the dumpster with those sex scandals, and then releasing Vanguard, which people were just like, okay, well, this is the World War II Call of Duty. Like, it's good, but like, it wasn't the Modern Warfare 2 of age of Activision, which they never hit.
But this is my thing, Jess. This is my thing. Everybody, for the most part, that I see on here that is like hyped about this, they're either PC or Xbox guys, and they think this is a great thing, and they don't even fucking play Call of Duty. They don't fucking play Call of Duty. They're on some fanboy shit like, oh, this is great for me. Because, I'm like, but you fucking don't play Call of Duty. You don't even play most of the games that Activision
There's
makes.
no way of justifying the goddamn internet. All I gotta say is how this is going to impact.
And then here's a flip side to it. Here's the other flip side to it. Fucking Foreskin, whatever her name is. So she says Dead Man Walking, and people are like, oh, she was right. No, she didn't fucking know this, number one. But hold on. Here's a flip side to it. I'm waiting for her to post anything about how this is a great buy and anything. So you're applauding Microsoft to go out there and buy these companies with all these sexism, because all the stuff they're doing was primarily the women. They were doing too much with their frat boy mentality. So you approve that, but you don't approve. You see what I'm saying? It's like a double. It's like, wait a minute. So you approve? So it's fanboy
there's
bullshit.
No making sense
it's
of the
not,
internet.
Here's two things. It's not gatekeeping, right? It's not gatekeeping when you say Spider-Man's on PlayStation only, because Sony went to Disney. Disney owns all the rights to Marvel games. I already researched it. They're the ones that say we can license it out. Sony went to Disney and said, hey, we want to do a Spider-Man game. And Disney was like, okay. They let them do the first one, and there were some contentions in the contract. Then they let them continue. And so after they saw him do this Spider-Man, this Miles Morales, they're like, you know what? They can make a good video game. And they went to him again and said, hey, can we do Wolverine? And Disney said yes. What was to stop Microsoft with its $1 trillion company going to Disney and saying, hey, we want to do a Deadpool game. We want to do this game. We want to do whatever Marvel character. The sky's the limit. They could have did. They don't do that.
Well, Frog, that was.
But Spider-Man on PlayStation and being exclusive is gatekeeping. How is that fucking gatekeeping? That's not gatekeeping. There's no gatekeeping there. Sony went, asked permission. They said yes. They could have did the same thing. Microsoft isn't built like that. If you go back and look at Microsoft's history, Microsoft's always been the kind of company that they can't beat you, they'll buy you and crush you and shut you down. That's the company they've always been. Back in the 90s, the government was even trying to stop them because they were trying to be in a monopoly. Back in the 90s, they were like, no, you can't do this. Before with the big, Linux and iOS and all that, they tried to be in a monopoly. Even Bill Gates talked about it. Like, yeah, we had a lot of problems with the government because they're like, yeah, you guys are trying to monopolize. So my whole thing is, this has been something Microsoft always done. There's no way in shape or form anybody can come here and tell me, and I really want somebody to change my mind to make me see how this is a great thing for gaming, number one, or the industry as a whole. If you're like, Call of Duty's only on our console, and let's just say it's in Game Pass, but it's the only place you can play either there or PC, and that's like it. So you took away a huge amount of fans from a service, from multiple consoles, and it's like, you could have kept it there. You were making money just as well. But now, so what I think, and this is my honest opinion, I think that Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation, even though that 70 billion. I think Call of Duty stay
Do
there
you
because
think that it's Warzone, or do you think new iterations of Call of Duty are
I
gonna be
think
on there?
everything is there. I think it's a Minecraft. I think it's kind of a Minecraft thing. I think they do a Minecraft
So
thing where
you
they
think
say, you know what?
it's gonna be
I,
Game Pass day one and $70 on PlayStation
there you go. Yep. And I
every
think
year?
that's how Microsoft does it. And does that help the consumer? Yes and no. Yeah, because it's kind of like now every time I buy it, I got to say shit. Well, this is a company that's integrated into Microsoft's Xbox, their game, whatever. It's not going to say Xbox when I boot it up, obviously, because Xbox said they're their own entity. But I do think that we will get Call of Duty games. But it just makes me think like some of the people are like, well, if you get the Microsoft doesn't spend $70 billion to buy a company to put their games on other platforms. Well, in this case, Call of Duty is not as big as Minecraft, but it's on that level. It's very big, and it's like you'd be a fool to say I want to lose out
Nah,
on that.
Frog. We thought you saw the Bethesda thing. They're taking a new
But okay,
IP. But listen, they're
but the
taking
thing
a
is,
new IP with
Call of Duty sells.
Starfield and putting it only on Xbox and PC and not on PlayStation with a new IP to try to establish a new franchise. They're willing to make that exclusive.
So you think they're willing to give up the hundred and something million
Yep,
PlayStation 4
yep.
consoles and that's close to 17 million PS5? They're like, fuck all them.
You'll keep Warzone. That's
You
the
know what?
Minecraft.
Hold on. I even saw somebody. Oh my god, these PC guys are idiots. I saw somebody today in the timeline was like, well, Call of Duty sells the most on PC anyway, and I was like, no, it doesn't. It
Yeah.
sells on console the most.
You'll get
Like
this.
this
I'm
PC
telling you, you'll
guy
get
was,
this year. Will be fine. It's next year's Call of Duty that's going to be the one where you're going to have to take a look and see if they're going to separate out. But I'm telling you, these annual releases, I think they're going to just give you Warzone and updates. But the Call of Duty yearly one that you buy every year, that one is going to eventually just be exclusive to Xbox and PC. I think so. I don't think they're going to put it on PlayStation. Or they will at first, but as soon as I'm telling you, it's all about Game Pass numbers, and that's something that nobody wants to talk about.
Call of Duty is no longer going to be on PlayStation. It's only going to be in Game Pass available, like when the numbers.
It's going to be on Game Pass, on Xbox, and on PC.
Let me ask you a question, Jez. Do you think this helps sell Xboxes? The fact that now people will find out that Microsoft and the Xbox guys over there, they own the Call of Duty franchise. Not the fact that it's not coming on PlayStation, just the fact that they own it, and people may think.
I think people are going to switch platforms. They probably will.
So do you think that at the end of this generation we see Microsoft outselling PlayStation?
No. I don't think that's ever going to happen because Sony has such a global brand. But I do think that this kind of move, just the perception that Microsoft owns Call of Duty, all those Call of Duty guys that probably ran to PlayStation are going to probably start going. They might consider going back to Xbox or PC. Nonetheless, this definitely will drive people away from PlayStation to this. I know you're not, but I know that. I think overall, people.
Call of Duty is it's a huge game, and I think that you will have some people that will.
Come on, Frog. Look at what the exclusive content that Sony got drove Xbox people away from the Xbox Call of Duty when they owned all the maps and stuff, and then PlayStation got all the extra perks. Everybody went to the PlayStation to play Call of Duty just for perks and stuff.
But then it stopped, and then it was even Steven. They stopped doing Battle Pass or Season Pass.
They still got some like exclusive modes, even though they weren't that execution mode, whatever that kind of like extract mode and things like that. Like a lot of their content kind of dried up since they made the map packs for free, and they called.
I just want to know the people that say this is good for gaming.
And I'm not saying I'm moving to Xbox to play Call of Duty. They can keep that shit.
No. I love. I'm a huge Call of Duty fan. I buy it every year. I've never missed a Call of Duty.
Yeah, I missed a year or so, but I usually buy it.
As a matter of fact, Advanced Warfare. I have over 3,000 hours in Advanced Warfare, so I'm a hardcore Call of Duty guy. So this does affect me, bottom line, because PlayStation is where I primarily play. And some people will say, well, screw it, just go get an Xbox. Well, it's not that simple. You want me to go and invest in a whole system and an ecosystem.
That's right.
I don't even find that first party appealing just for a Call of Duty game. I was willing to do it for, Halo and a couple others, but then after playing Halo, And we talked about this yesterday.
Oh, here, I'll
After
show you
playing
these things.
Halo and Halo to me being abysmal and just his numbers falling off, I think Microsoft knew that, oh shit, like this our Halo game's not going to sustain us. What do we got to do? What is our biggest competition right now for shooters? Call of Duty's kicked our ass. It's kicked Halo's ass since it's come out. Since
It's
Call of Duty's inception, it's been destroying Halo as far as sales numbers and multiplayer as far as players. What was the best thing for Microsoft to do? Is buy them and take out the competition. But that's all they can do. They're not talented enough to have their studios make a shooter that can compete against Call of Duty. So they're like, we'll just buy them, buy the competition.
yeah.
I guarantee Bobby Kotick could stay there, but once this whole deal is through, he's gone. He's
Oh,
not going to
they'll
stay
get
there
rid of him
anymore.
by the end
Yeah,
of next year.
I just for the people who aren't Call of Duty fans that think this is a good move, I want to know why. If you're not a guy or
Hit that
girl
like,
that
everybody.
buys
If
this
you're a Call of Duty
franchise
fan,
every
don't hit
year,
that.
that because most of the Call of Duty fans, not fanboys who just play on PlayStation, the fans of Call of Duty don't like this. They don't like this at
Well,
all.
this is what I'm going to tell you. Like, a lot of people that probably primarily play Call of Duty on PlayStation have a big question mark now going, well, what's going to happen to my
Right.
annual franchise that I do?
Mhm.
And again, Phil is not going to say anything until probably he's going to say, yep, everything's status quo until next year of June when this closes. And then we'll see. Remember, he said some games will be exclusive with the Bethesda deal. And he's doing the same thing again now. And then the other thing is, what?
He's on the same thing with Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah,
like
they're
you
doing the
said.
same thing now because then when it closes next year, then they might say, well, you know what? We're gonna have an exclusive we're gonna have this only on Game Pass, or you could get the campaign in Game Pass. So maybe not next year, but it's going to happen. They're going to leverage Call of Duty for Game Pass because this is a move for them. And when Phil says when everybody like plays, we all win, he's talking about everybody playing under their roof. That's why it's all finesse. It's all bullshit. Microsoft is playing a different game here, and it sucks. It's like bringing a gun to a knife fight. You know what I mean? This is what
They
they're
can
doing.
control the narrative and say we're
Fuck,
going to
they
sell
can do
for
anything.
69. We're going to sell for 69 on PS5, and it's 59 over here on Xbox Series. Or if you get it in Game Pass, if you pay your Game Pass membership, you get it in Game Pass day one. So they can control the narrative and they can charge whatever they want.
But
on
I said
PlayStation.
the challenge that Microsoft has is not even with the franchise. The challenge that Microsoft has is to convince those people that buy Call of Duty to get it through Game Pass. Like that's the thing.
Yes.
Like and they're not really that's not really working out here because people just want to buy the games that they want to play. People don't want to have this smorgasbord of games that they got to filter through all this stuff to see if they want to play something. A lot of people just say, "Oh, I'm getting Call of Duty this year and just buy it," which is fine for them.
I'm gonna tell you this.
But wait, I'm gonna say, but like the thing is like they then are just gonna buy the game. But Microsoft has to turn them say, "Hey, don't buy it. You just get it in your service that you're paying $15 a month to play online for." Because remember, you need Xbox Live as of now to play Call of Duty online. So either and now think about this stranglehold. You need Xbox Live to play Call of Duty, right? Because it's not free to play.
But the only way you can get Xbox Live is in Game Pass.
So guess what happens? I either jack up Xbox Live's price or I make Xbox the only way you get Xbox Live is through Game Pass or something along those lines. Or you jack up Xbox Live to force all your Call of Duty players now to go get it through Game Pass. Dude, the ball's in their court. They're already playing the sleazy game and doing this stuff. And again, I don't and I agree with you in the sense is that this when we talk about gatekeeping and Spider-Man and all this other stuff, the difference is that Microsoft is owning all this, is getting all this IP, but it's not generating the games. We could even go back and say, like, wow, they did such a great job with the Bethesda purchase, and we got such great games from Bethesda. Or they did such a great job with those purchases in 2018. We got some amazing games, and Microsoft really knows how to curate talent and development. We're still waiting on what 2018's purchases are yielding. And you notice, what have they been doing now? They've been buying publishers. They haven't really been buying the studios that they bought, these indie studios and all this other stuff. Now they're buying just straight out publishers. They bought the last two purchases. Remember, they were buying Who they buy? They bought Compulsion Games. They bought Ninja Theory. They bought
It's
who
not a
else?
crime.
They bought what is it? That guy studio that made Psychonauts. They bought all these little okie dokie studios. Now they're done, but they haven't bought. Look, and then look what Sony's buying. Sony's buying different studios here and there to make games, right? Like Fire Sprite and all this other stuff, kind of like what Microsoft was doing in 2018. Now Microsoft's just going straight out and buying a whole friggin' publisher with ZeniMax and Activision. They're just buying the gaming industry, basically.
Yeah, at this point, they're like, screw it.
They're not
this
buying
is
studios to make games. All they're doing is owning the annual games and the franchises that are already established. That's all they're doing.
And I would honestly say more than anything, this purchase is something that's really shit. If you're waking up and this is your first time seeing this, and you're the president of PlayStation, you know nothing about this. This is shaking up the industry because you took away a big iconic franchise that sells so well on your console. Now you're like, holy shit, our competition owns this. What does this mean for us?
That's why Sony's in trouble. This is not good. This is
not good for Sony. It's not good for Nintendo either.
Nah.
But more or less Sony, because as far as like your biggest competitor, right sitting next to you, as far as your power wise, how does this bode well for the people, like I say, who are in those leagues who play primarily on PS4s and PS5s? How do they sit there and say, damn, well, this is the only place I can play it. I'm going over the Xbox. And I remember when that happened, when they said, well, we're going to change from, and the reason they changed from Xbox to PlayStation is because the player base was mostly on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So they went, the reason Activision changed is not because it was more powerful, 1080p. It was like the player base, there's more PlayStation still out there. The player base is mostly there. So it boggles my mind how anybody who, and this is once again, everybody that I've heard in the space talking that was a Call of Duty fan, no matter where they played, said this was bad for the industry. Call of Duty players, no matter if they played on PlayStation, Xbox, bad for the industry. This is not good. These are guys who play Call of Duty every year. The J-Bar, like these are guys who play the game.
Dude, and my thing is,
most of the people that were like jumping up and down, shouting for joy, were either Xbox or PC people saying this is so great, another win for us, and they don't play Call of Duty.
Wow.
They just want to have it as a badge of honor to say, yes, we got something else that Sony doesn't have. And let me tell you, it's a tribalistic mentality. Like they're so ingrained in that freaking, we want to win so bad, we don't care if everything burns down. We rather have our whole village burned down than everybody have a house built up. And that's how
that's the game they're playing.
That's that mentality over there.
Dude, look what they did with Rare IP. They revived Conker and did something with it. Did they do anything better with Perfect Dark that they did? No, they did nothing with all that.
They want to win so
That's
bad.
why they will destroy the industry. They will destroy the industry in order to get Game Pass to be the thing.
Instead of actually going out there competing in a way where you say, hey, we can actually go out there and we can have some students. Nope. We don't need studios to make games. We got the money, go buy them.
Sony is going to have to go to Microsoft and be like, well, we need EA games, we need Activision games, and they're going to have to knock on Phil's door, and they're basically they're segregating the market of gaming to say any big third-party IP and games have to all go through Xbox and go through Microsoft, and that's the game they're playing. That's what it is.
I said yesterday that
and they're strangleholding Sony. Like that's it. Sony is now all relying on their first-party deals and their partnerships and their time deals, and that's it. And that's all Sony's going to rely on.
If Sony were to buy somebody, I said this yesterday. I said if Sony were to buy somebody, they should get somebody to compete with Microsoft's the Western RPG. So they should get like the BioWare and a CD Projekt Red. I said they should buy, CD Projekt Red. But that's not how Sony thinks.
But yeah, I'm telling you, the difference is that's why Sony's not going to go out and buy a Take-Two unless they really want to flex. But because Sony, but listen, if Sony buys a publisher, that publisher will be only on Sony platforms. And I think this is where, and I know, this is where I think a lot of people kind of, I think the Xbox guys kind of get upset, and I can see it from their perspective, is that if Sony went out and bought Activision, there would be no question Call of Duty will only be on PlayStation, and that's it. End of story.
And I still think
that's why Sony is not going to go buy a publisher like Take-Two and stuff and just say call it, unless they really want to. If they see this as an attack on them and they don't trust, like, see, we don't know what negotiations Sony and Microsoft worked out with
right.
this
We don't
stuff.
know if these aren't going to be on PlayStation.
You know, maybe MLB The Show going to Game Pass was a piece of goodwill to say, okay, well, we'll keep that Call of Duty relationship still. The problem with this whole thing is that, guess what? Microsoft could always take the game ball and run home with it. And that's where Sony is now cornered in the market, because now Microsoft is calling the shots as to where these games show up and how they show up. And Sony now has the biggest third-party franchise in Microsoft's hands. And Microsoft, at any time, you're playing. I remember this when we were kids in New York playing in the streets. Who brought out the football? All right, well, that's his football. Guess what? He starts losing or he doesn't like how a call was made. He takes his ball and runs home with it. And now we're standing there going, well, we can't play football anymore, guys. He just took his ball and ran home because he didn't like the call or didn't like the way the score was going or didn't think that it was his turn. And that's the problem that Sony has, is that now the biggest franchises, these biggest names in gaming, third-party games, are now going through Microsoft, who holds the game ball. And they could be like, you know what, Sony? We don't like that. You know what? Maybe we'll take away that campaign. And now Sony they're in trouble. This is a dangerous game that Microsoft is playing. I think, and Sony is definitely this competition, but it's a whole different ball game. They brought they brought a gun to a knife fight or fist fight.
Yeah, I honestly think that at this point that I'm hoping for a Minecraft scenario where where we know that
they're not going to do
Xbox
it,
Game Studios. I don't think they are, but I'm hoping
Minecraft worked because they didn't have Game Pass. Now they have a platform that they need to drive.
What I'm saying is Minecraft is still there. They still updated. They put Minecraft Dungeons. They put all the Minecraft stuff on PlayStation no matter what. So I'm thinking maybe Call of Duty, because it's such a big franchise, they do the same thing. They say, you know what? We got to do the same thing. My whole thing is like a lot of people I've seen a lot of people will say, well, I don't care about the franchise. Where if you don't care about the franchise, then you're not part of the conversation. And okay, screw it. You don't care about Microsoft buying it. Well, why would you champion it on? And those are the people I see.
Well,
like,
Frog, those are Kappas and come on, Frog. They were celebrating an Xbox refrigerator, anything to give Xbox a W. So this is the biggest gaming purchase in history.
Power.
Yeah, man, bullshit. Everything was good optics for Microsoft. Though they care about, they're doing all this stuff. You look at this thing, like really, you look at this. If we look at what they got from here, what the hell? If you look at what
my whole thing is this.
But look, Frog, they got Overwatch, Diablo 4, which is coming out. Overwatch 2, we have no clue where that is. Diablo 4, which is in developmental, we're waiting for that too, forever. Those two games are franchises that are big, but they come out every decade. Goddamn, these two games. Call of Duty is the only annual franchise that they're getting, and Warzone is a consistent service game. World of Warcraft just lives on PC. That is their PC bread and butter. That's the only reason why Blizzard
Candy Crush
exists.
is their phone game, and that makes
Candy Crush is a huge phone game, and then StarCraft is another big game that has a following on it on PC. So you look at this purchase, this gives them more leverage in the PC space, because a lot of these games, even Diablo and Overwatch, are big on PC, StarCraft, and a big mobile purchase. So like, you look, they're basically out putting their portfolio more with a PC type of focus. This is not really a console battle, but Sony is just kind of in the crossfires of Microsoft Big Daddy trying to buy up everybody, and unfortunately, Sony's getting the short end of the stick here because Microsoft's playing with the big guns.
Fire on Crash Bandicoot, and I think they own Tony Hawk. They don't have the rights to Tony Hawk, but they own like the Tony Hawk games. But they don't own the rights to Tony Hawk. But they can do Tony Hawk games if they're allowed to. So there's a lot of IPs other than what we see up here that they can do.
Yeah, Guitar Hero, Crash Bandicoot, StarCraft, Diablo.
The biggest punch in the
Hearthstone. Those are huge games on PC. And then you think about it, like somebody put the list of all the IP that Microsoft has now under their umbrella. It is absolutely insane. And it's like, well, the fan and the gaming
they
fan.
They got 3 Call of Duty studios. They got Treyarch. They got
everybody. Frog, they got everybody. That's why I'm saying, like, Sony's here with the, trying to fight this kind of, this little pistol, and Microsoft just did the bazooka. Like this, they just said, you know what, you're gonna shoot at me with a little pebble or with a little pea shooter, and
I'm
then
gonna tell you.
and so
I'm gonna
Microsoft
tell
just
you,
said,
Jazz,
here's the friggin' rocket launcher, here's the spanker.
this is
This
one
is
of those
what they
things you got to
did.
look at,
They
and you
flexed.
got to say, I've been calling. I said, people think it's good for gaming, but you can see another gaming crash where gaming is big and then it starts to die down. The reason you started seeing it die down because when you have one company that owns so much stuff,
Yeah.
and they control it, and the narrative is like you got to get it in this service. The older generation, people will start walking away from gaming. Maybe, and I think that
Oh,
you
it
will see,
could. It will turn off
you'll see an
gamers.
influx of people. You'll see an influx of people that just won't play games as much, and the
Yeah.
gaming generation will start to die down a little
See,
bit, and a little bit, a little
I,
bit. It's
yeah.
big now,
No,
but
and I
we don't know what
just
it's going
to
to be 5 years from
You're
now.
right, and just to piggyback off of what you're saying, this is the reason why. Like when people say gatekeeping, like this is not just exclusivity, and that's why. Like if Microsoft bought these with the intent to try to promote their Xbox platform and sell consoles, that will be okay. Well, they're buying big stuff. The issue that I have with this is that they're taking Bethesda, they're taking Activision games now, and they're putting them in a service. They are these games. I'm not saying these games were not services, but now the what they're doing is they're forcing conversion from your traditional gaming into this.
Mhm.
Like how would you like to buy battle pass? You're doing this. How would you like to buy battle passes in Call of Duty in addition to paying $15 a month to access Call of Duty?
Jazz, and I don't
How
mean to
does
jump
that
off
feel, Frog? Like that's where I don't like this whole thing because they're
Check
funneling
this out.
everything through a service. And that means all your gaming is going to be a 20. Look at Netflix going up to $20. Like
Yeah,
they'll get you by the
and guess
balls
what?
going, keep
You know why
subscribing.
Netflix has to go up to $20 is they don't make money.
And that
The
what
money
Microsoft going to do, dude? They're going to keep increasing the price.
they break even, and they're trying to pay back the stuff they have. They got $8 billion, like I said, $8 billion in cash. They owe 16 billion. They don't have enough cash to pay. They got it. They're like, we're breaking even. We're trying to struggle. I see, and I'm gonna tell you, there's a big reason I see EA being next.
Hit that like,
thinking,
grinders. We're over 100 people watching.
I'm gonna tell you why EA is next. EA has been having freaking dude, their last FIFA game was horrible. It got, Metacritic, it never scored so low.
Madden?
Last Man game was horrible. Their critically acclaimed Mass Effect games from the past, the last one, it got bad takes. The Battlefield.
They're still working on Agent. They're still working on. What was that game, Frog? The
Agent 47.
No. Well, they're still. What was that game that they made by BioWare? They're still showing concept.
Oh, Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. Still working on that for 4 years.
So think about the last Battlefield that just came out. Not well received.
Yeah, not well received. They're prime, man. EA's next. I'm telling you.
I think EA. If you start looking at these companies that are failing, Microsoft's like, yo, we can go in there and we can scoop them up for.
They're the publishers from the heyday, Frog. Back in the early 2000s when they were rolling and Fight Night and all that stuff.
I've heard a lot of people saying. I've heard one. It was one a little conversation I heard people saying, well, Sony needs to just go buy the Japanese, like they need to go buy Capcom. They need to go, and I said, they don't need to buy Capcom and Square Enix and Namco, Bandai. I said that is because they're like, oh, well, Sony can be the JRPG machine, Microsoft can be the shooter, blah 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 machine. I said, that really doesn't make sense. I said because Square puts most of their games on PlayStation anyway because they don't sell on Xbox. Not that Xbox doesn't want them. They just don't make money. So they're like, we don't really need to put our games there because they don't make money. Same with Capcom. They're like, we make money on PlayStation. Same with Namco. We make most of money. A lot of these Japanese studios. So maybe it'll get to the point. And hey, maybe I'm thinking differently. Maybe EA's next. And then maybe Ubisoft is a stalemate that's in between. Maybe Sony starts to do more partnerships with these Japanese companies because usually Japanese companies, only a Japanese company can buy them. There's a way there's the loopholes of ways that Microsoft can get some Japanese companies loopholes. But what I'm saying is maybe Sony is like, okay, well, we're with Sega. We got Square, and they're not buying them. They got good partnerships with them, and they're not being sold out because since these acquisitions have been had, what Japanese company has been purchased? All of them have been, as far as to my knowledge, have been American
No, that's
companies,
why
right?
EA do, because that's next. But no, that one's
Yeah,
a couple
EA
of comments in the chat basically here. What we were saying is, what was that? Harry Balsneck. He says, my point is that Crash Bandicoot. Wait, no, he said somebody said something. Where is it? Somebody said, where is it? Oh man, I missed it. I lost it here with the. No, not the Crash Bandicoot discussion. Somebody said, here it is. This is so short-sighted. Harry said this. Harry Balzac. Harry Balzac, exactly. Excellent comment. This is so short-sighted on Microsoft's behalf. Developers who detest publishers that will quit and start fresh under Sony. Heaven of creativity and excellence. And you want to know what's interesting is that, we talk about this Activision Blizzard, and, with great power comes great responsibility. And they got a whole issue with unions and all this other stuff, and the whole sex scandal that's going on over there as well. Like, Activision's a friggin' disaster zone right now, and Microsoft
were yelling sexism and women's rights and all this stuff.
I'm telling you, Microsoft inherited. They inherited crazy for the sake of getting these games. Like, you got to look at a desperate company. And I'm gonna talk about it right now, but I just thought this was a funny tweet that I posted. I kept laughing. Herman Holtz on his yacht right now. He's just like, get out of my way. I got work to do. Dude, Herman Holtz, man. Not the best quality games, But one of the things I wanted to point out that was also in this post, that it kind of shows what they're trying to do, is that we were talking about Game Pass numbers, right? What's going on with Game Pass?
Oh my gosh.
Right? So nobody's talking about this, and this is Microsoft took a book out of Sony where you deliver the good news with the bad news. So the good news to them is that they bought Activision. The bad news is that Game Pass numbers. Where was it? I thought I saw it in there. It was an Xbox Wire article.
Was it 18 million to 25 million?
25 million, they said.
There it goes right there. I see it.
Where was it? It was on here. Did I miss it?
Like the fourth paragraph down. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. Where is it? Fourth paragraph down. What is that? 25?
I think it's like the fourth paragraph. I saw 25 million.
There it is. There we go. Upon close, we'll offer as many Activision Blizzard games as we can within Xbox, Game Pass, and PC. Both new titles and games from Activision Blizzard's incredible catalog. We also announced today that Game Pass has more than 25 million subscribers. As always, we look forward to continuing to add more value and great games to Game Pass. 25 million. Remember last year, people thought it was at 50. Well, Phil, what do you have, 50 million? Yeah. That Take-Two guy was rusing them, man.
50 million? Yeah.
Rusing them.
He said he wasn't putting his games in there.
Exactly. He was rusing them. And everybody's like, oh, no, he must know. He's in bed with Phil. Like, they know, at the meetings and stuff that he's the Take-Two CEO. He would know what Phil told him the numbers.
Phil said, he did. Last quarter was 13 million.
Phil's like, no, the official number. No, he's like, the official number that we announced was 18 million. He went back.
18 million, yeah.
18 million was the last numbers that they announced officially. Yeah. They announced those.
And they're only 5 million in what,
they announced those in 2020 of December at the earnings call. They said they're at 18 million subscribers. Now, that was at December 2020. Now, over a year later, on January 2022, after Halo released, their number is 25 million.
Well,
he said 30 million was the guess. Okay, Afropunk, that's what he said. I thought he was like, so they are under at 25
he was like,
million.
You at 34. He said, what are you at, 30, 40 million? And he said 30, 40 million.
Yeah, he said 30, 40 million. Yeah, and it feels like, the last one we'll talk about is 18 million. And everybody was like, oh, no, it's at 40 million. Everybody ran with articles. 25 million. So, listen, wait, Frog. 7 million increase in a year of Halo.
Yeah.
And what's the MPD? They didn't. What was the MPD?
Yeah. Oh, Microsoft.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, Mike. Oh yeah, they put that up there. And look, they hey, you know what?
They came in second, right? On the Nintendo?
Halo's I'm talking about games.
Oh yeah, Halo's number 2.
Halo Infinite was on MPD. It was number 2. Hey, guess what was number 1? COD.
Call of Duty, yeah.
And people, it's gonna outsell. We already know COD is the best selling game every year. No, you know that meme where you see freaking they got freaking Mark Cerny's head on. I think it's what's his name's body in WWE. He's walking out. They need to just put Phil Spencer's head on there now, because that's basically what they did today. He's walking out, man. He's shredding his stuff. They're Phil Nessing us. but they're gonna feel this in a whole nother way.
Oh, they're going to. But the
They're gonna
thing
feel
is that Frog. Remember what I said about Satya's number and growth? 18
Yes.
million, and now you're looking
No.
at a year turnaround. Remember when they were talking about when they were announcing
That's
those
not
numbers?
gonna grow
Frog,
for
wait,
Satya.
where did they go? They went from 18 million to 15 million. They went from 10 million to 13. Remember, they grew like almost 10 million in a year in the pandemic year, and then last year they only grew 7. That's after Call of Duty.
Yep.
And a lot of people in the chat are saying, well, how many of those are dollar deals and how many people are doing? Dude, all I'm saying is to reach 2 billion gamers, your subscription that's been out since 2017 is only hit 25 million subscribers for 5 years. And because Game Pass has been existing since they've been putting their first party games in there since 2018. They've been putting their games in there. So for 4 years, first party games have been in Game Pass, and they went from there to 25 million in 4 years.
Wait. Hold on.
Right? We just read over last year. We just read it over last night.
So in the chat, what's his name? Dizzy Delta 89. He basically said this is the same thing on a much larger scale. Sony does little exclusive deals and a few devices here and there. How is it the same thing? That's what I understand. How people think this is the same thing. Like them buying Activision.
Nah, this is not the same thing, Dizzy. This thing is Microsoft brought a bazooka to a knife fight.
Yeah, basically, if you watch Don't Be a Menace while drinking your juice in the hood, that's what they did. Straight USSR rocket pointing at your face, and they're like, "Yeah, do something." And Sony's like, "Oh shit!" I'm pretty sure these guys over at the Sony court woke up this morning or were awake and they found this news out, and then they're like, "Yo, did you hear this shit? They just bought Activision." And they're like, "Wait, you talking about Call of Duty Activision?" They're like, "Yeah." Wait, Bobby Kotick Activision?
Sony gonna do something, dude. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
I had to read the story at like 3 or 4 different places because I was like, nah, this has to be some kind of I thought it was like some fanboy. And I was like, wait, is this real? I was like, how is this possible? I was like, okay, this is possible? Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what does this accomplish for gaming? What does this do for gaming to make gaming better? Other than fanboy bullshit. And this is why I say, most of the people who are like, I don't care because I don't play Call of Duty. Call of Duty's ass. Why are you even why does your opinion even matter? The reason your opinion doesn't matter. But most of those same people are people who are on Xbox or PC, and they think it's either a great deal or they don't care about it. So you have two camps. The guys that think it's great that are on Xbox or PC, but they don't play Call of Duty. Then the guys who say they don't care, but they're on Xbox or PC. And I'm like, can I hear somebody that actually can say this is great for a reason? I want to know why this is great. I've not heard anybody say, give me a valid reason why this is good for gaming going forward. They freaking took and said, oh, we're going to purchase this whole corporation, Activision Blizzard, absorb you all. We're going to let you do it. Why is this great for gaming? When Sony went out there to Disney and they said, hey, Disney, we want to make a Spider-Man game when Insomniac. Then Disney said, okay, that was good for gaming. It would be good for gaming if Microsoft did the same thing. It'd be good for gaming if Nintendo. Microsoft's like, we don't have time because, we're working on a whole bunch of shit to put in Game Pass. We don't have time to work on something of Spider-Man quality to put in Game Pass. So fuck it, we'll just buy whole corporations. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's good for gaming. When Sony said, hey, Gorilla, we don't want you to do another zone. Try something new. And they make Horizon Zero Dawn. That's good for fucking gaming. When they said, hey, Sucker Punch, we're giving you free reign to make your own thing, and they make freaking Ghost of Tsushima, that's good for gaming. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm going here?
Well, I see some more on Twitter like going, Xbox has all the games. Xbox has games now.
Brand new IP Sony's making. Brand fucking new. They're not the same. They're not a Mario game because we done done Mario. Mario just goes to a different world, a different 3D, 2D. So my whole thing, and I'm not dissing Mario, Zelda, or anything like that. When's the last time Nintendo has made a brand new IP? When's the last time Microsoft has made a brand new IP outside of bleeding ass? You see what I'm saying? Like Sony from last generation, this generation with PlayStation, They let their studios, hey, go ahead. So what's good for gaming is your studios are getting to create new IPs. They don't. Naughty Dog is already working on their new IP. That's not The Last of Us. That's not Uncharted. That's good for gaming. That's good for gaming. That's how you grow. You don't say, you know what? Instead of you guys go ahead and make an Uncharted 5, and we're going to go ahead and buy a couple of studios while you guys make that Uncharted 5. Because that's what Microsoft basically does. Oh, you guys make Gears 5? We'll go ahead and we'll buy Bethesda while you're working on that. You know, take some of the heat off
Frog,
you.
I think people want the Brian M. asked Frog. Give us the penis analogy again. 4 inches in a Corvette. What are you saying?
Oh, my. Did I said Microsoft was, Microsoft
You said it last night.
around, 4-inch penis, driving a Ferrari, all this money. They can't get the girls, but they get the girls to them because they got the money. And the girls only with them because the money, not because they're 4-inch penis. But then when the guy jumps out the car in the Dodge Neon with the 10-inch schlong, they're like, yo, he actually looks good. You know, he has a good personality. He does drive a Dodge Neon, but, you know, take the 10-inch schlong. No, Microsoft is just throwing money around because they have no fucking dick.
You asked for it, Brian. Proud VIP grind of Brian M. He asked for it. He got it.
Somebody said Microsoft tried to do a lot of new IPs and it didn't stick. Quantum Break. Okay, that's not Microsoft's. Microsoft doesn't own that. That's not their studio. Recore, not their studio. Ori, not their studio. See what I'm saying? See, once again, that's what I'm talking about. None of these are their studios. None of these are their studios.
Frog, the thing is like I think it's sleazy. It's the way it is, and I know people will be like, well, Sony did it. You want to know what? This is the thing. All I'm going to say as a gamer, what does this do for you? You were getting Call of Duty anyway every year. You were getting Starfield anyway. Microsoft is not curating content for you. Instead, they're owning content so they could distribute it in a service. Now, if you're a lifetime Game Pass subscriber, then this could potentially add more value to Game Pass. However, wait a second. Hold your roll on.
Go ahead.
Game Pass is the way you're going to go, be ready for when Call of Duty drops. Maybe next year, Game Pass goes up $5. Now, Game Pass value is going to change. So,
$5.
Who knows, dude? Who knows? But all I'm saying is like, now they're just finding a different way of feeding you the same shit. You were getting these games anyway. Microsoft is not bringing new content to their platform. All they're doing is bringing the content that you buy, and now they're going to squeeze it in a service so they can monetize you 3 ways from Sunday. That's why I don't like this. If this was Microsoft back in the day when they were trying to make, like, where they were traditional and they were buying this stuff, I'll be like, oh, this is exciting. You know, they're really serious about this. But Microsoft is buying this company. They're buying these companies to feed you the same games and franchises that you play a different way.
They're trying to make PlayStation adopt Game Pass.
And they're trying to make PlayStation's trying to still be antiquated or like on their traditional gaming. We're going to deliver best games and do this stuff. When Microsoft is saying, guys, we cannot go round for round, fight for fight with Sony on games. Instead, we need to own the big franchises, and then we'll feed them to you in a service. And that's the route that I don't like, is that by Microsoft buying Activision, it takes whatever games, if you don't like them or do like them, they're funneling through the Game Pass route. Now, yes, you could buy them, but then you could scratch your head and go, wait a second, Halo was $60 just for the campaign, and that's still a build in progress. So think about how they're going to structure and fracture their games for Game Pass. It might not be your same old dad's Call of Duty. It might be a special zombie mode that's only in Game Pass and Sony doesn't get it. You don't know. But the problem I have with this is that it's a different Microsoft. It's a dangerous Microsoft because it's more about cloud. And another thing that other people are bringing up too is that Satya said the metaverse. The metaverse. Microsoft is positioning themselves for the metaverse. So they want to have all this content under their realm so that they could have Game Pass be part of the meta world and being that stuff. This is their vision. Sony is not. Sony is back in traditional like Nintendo. They just want to give you great games for the platform that you buy. And they're going to dab into other things. Microsoft is doing a whole different thing. And the unfortunate thing is that it's affecting the gaming industry because Microsoft is willing to consume everybody like freaking Pac-Man and basically just own everything to redistribute it to you. My thing is that we've seen what Halo has turned into, what they did with their biggest franchises. What is Starfield going to be? Is that going to be a full 80-hour game in Game Pass? Giving value?
It doesn't matter now.
It doesn't matter. I guarantee you now with this Call of Duty thing, I bet you Starfield gets delayed, Redfall gets delayed. There's and the other thing too, another thing is that all these big purchases, this Bethesda purchase, this Call of Duty purchase, all this does, it just gives their first party more and more time not to show anything. It takes the pressure. Now that they got this Call of Duty coming out in the fall and it's part of Game Pass, they don't need to rush to get Perfect Dark out there. They could take their time because they bought and they got Starfield. Don't worry about it. Think about it. If they didn't buy Bethesda, what would they have this year? Call of Duty? What would they have? Not even if they didn't buy Bethesda or Activision. What would they have from their 2018 studios this
from
year?
Their talentless studios that no talent.
They bought these studios 4 years ago. You're telling me all of them are making 4 years quadruple A games that are coming out? No, no, they're not. So tell me why they bought these studios in 2018 and we're not seeing anything this year.
Because you took a franchise that was committed to both platforms, is doing both well on both platforms, and you bought the whole company. There's other games in that studio owns, but you took a franchise from people who really truly loved it, and you're like, and it may not be there anymore. And then you make freaking feeling their statements like we'll piece by piece, game by game and you know what? Here's my thing. It's not going to make a lot of PlayStation guys go over to Xbox, but you will have some that will go and buy an Xbox just to play Call of Duty. Me, myself, with Call of Duty, if this is the last one we get this year on PlayStation, that so be it. I'm a huge Call of Duty fan. I've purchased and bought every Call of Duty from its existence, from the one on the 360 Call of Duty 2 all the way up to now. And I'm a huge Call of Duty fan. I'll tell you that. I have no shame.
Yeah, that's why you don't know. You primarily play Call of Duty on PlayStation, so you're in that boat, Frog, that you don't know.
And back in the day, I used to play
what's going to happen to the franchise.
The only reason I switched is because my primary platform from 360 went to
you're probably going to have to switch back.
So no, I'm not. I refuse to do that. And so I don't know the future of Call of Duty. That's
the question, because now they got this bigger
games, and that game it's a juggernaut. So with me being uncertain, it's not going to make me change my console and go, oh, I need to go out there and buy an Xbox Series X, because guess what? There's so many other games that I want to play that aren't going to be there. So now do I just play? And here's the mentality a lot of people may say, well, just play your first-party games on PlayStation because they got enough, and play all your multi-plats on Xbox. What do you want? You guys want Sony to become Nintendo where they don't have third-party support? That's basically what people sound like they want Sony to be, Nintendo. Because if you look at Nintendo, they have very small amount of third-party support. Most of the games they have are first-party, and there's a lot of shovelware that's on Switch. But what I'm saying is, most of the big good games on Nintendo, they're first-party joints that people buy. I don't want PlayStation to be a Nintendo where, it's just, I would like my multiplexes there too. But it seems like where Microsoft is going, they're like, yo, we got to buy every studio that's having issues. Hey, Ubisoft, how'd your last game do? It's not doing well. We're buying you. Hey, EA, you fucked up with Battlefield. You fucked up with FIFA last year. You fucked up with Madden. We're looking at buying you for at least $20 billion. And EA's like, well, we're worth $40 million. All right, fuck it. We'll give you 80. And that's what Microsoft, because Activision was only worth 50, and they're like, fuck it. We'll give you $70 billion. I'm like, holy shit. They're a $3 trillion company. I just looked it up. $3 trillion company. They got the money. They can do this shit. But is it good for gaming? Is the bottom line. is this good for game? Think about it. You're gonna have one console with Call of Duty on it.
No,
No more
well, that's
PlayStation.
what I want to say to. I want to say to
Figuratively
somebody in the
speaking,
chat. What is his name? Dizzy?
Go ahead. I'm
Like
sorry.
Dizzy's saying, like, yeah, he goes like, yo, why can't we just, like all consoles and stop this thing? And I agree. The issue, but
Okay,
wait a
it's
second.
not-
I just want to talk. I just want to say, but the thing is that Microsoft's playing a different game here, and it's this service game. And if this was just a console warring thing where basically they're just putting Call of Duty like the old days, where they're just taking exclusive content and putting it on Call of Duty on their platform, and everybody was kind of doing the same thing, that's fine. But Microsoft's playing a different game here. They're trying to turn gaming that we know as traditional console gaming into mobile gaming with services embedded into services. So you got season passes, and in order to play the game with the season pass, you're also paying a service to access that game as well. And that's kind of like, it's really hard to say, well, let's just celebrate all consoles. Well, Microsoft's really not playing the console game anymore. They're playing something completely different. And if you want all your games that you play to turn into a service upon a service game, and you're paying monthly fees to access them, in addition to buying content for them, in addition to paying for the battle passes for them, as somebody who plays a lot of games, I really don't want to have that kind of financial investment into one game as being a layered service game, because Microsoft wants to provide that game to me through Game Pass. And then on top, you say, well, you could just buy it. Well, let me tell you something. Look at Halo. You could just buy it, but is that game worth $60? Because they fragmented the hell out of that game because of the service. So they make you say, oh, well, you could buy Call of Duty, but guess what? Maybe they fragment it so much that the only real way to the better value as a gamer is to get it through the service. And it goes a perfect example as to look at Halo Master Chief Collection. If you got Halo Master Chief through Game Pass, you got the campaign for free. Yeah. But if you bought Master Chief Collection, if I bought Master Chief Collection, which I did, then you had to buy $10 for the Halo Reach.
For Reach.
Yeah, for Reach. But remember, if you got it through their service, you got the you got the campaign.
Got everything.
But if you didn't, you bought the game, you were a sucker, because now you had to pay an extra $10 to get the campaign. So the service was a better value. So that's what I mean. The more and more games that are in their court, they can manipulate the way the game is made to make the service look more appealing. And that's the problem, and that's what grinds my gears. So that's what you guys need to realize. This is not just like, we got Call of Duty, you got Spider-Man, we got Wolverine, we got Starfield. This is not the same thing. This is a different battle. And that's where I'm saying, like, do you want your biggest franchises to do this? Get it, Frog.
They're buying up everything that was multi-plat, not exclusive, just multi-plats, because they don't have the exclusives yet. So they're like, we'll just buy up the multi-plats until we can get the exclusives. Now, and here's the other thing, and because I've been watching chat, seeing a lot of different things. A lot of people may say they don't care about this, but the reason this is definitely bad for gaming is because you're going to go down this rabbit hole. Let's just say PlayStation still does the PS5. It's not about, because let me go back to the question when somebody said, why can't you just own and love all the consoles? Because we don't live in a world like that. Some people can only afford one $500 box. I can afford all of them. And then some people have a primary ecosystem they're in. So if I'm in an ecosystem and I played PS4 all last generation, why would I want to jump over to Xbox and start all over? Or vice versa. If I was in the Xbox ecosystem, why would I want to jump to PlayStation and start all over? So it doesn't work like that. It sounds great on paper, own all the consoles, but some people can't do that. And some people are built in the ecosystem. Yeah, I can go to either ecosystem because I have profiles from the 360 era, from my PS3 era. So I can go either way, but like I said, I went from that Xbox 360 to the PS4 and stayed with the PS4 because they were doing things the way I wanted it. Jumped into the PS5. I have a Series X. My son plays on it, but my whole thing is I have no intention on playing primarily on Xbox because they're not giving me the games that I want. I find the games really mid-level, and not because of fanboy shit. I played and beat Halo Infinite, and I was like, holy shit, I had fun, but there were a lot of missteps with that game, and I purchased the game. I don't Game Pass shit. So that's the other thing. You got to look at the bigger picture here is and I said this before, there are a lot of people who play Halo, not PS4, not just Xbox, not people who are just, I'm sorry, not Halo, Call of Duty fans. Call of Duty fans across the board are like, this is bad. People who are playing on Xbox say it's bad. People who are playing on PS4 say it's bad. People who are playing PC. Now, some of the guys who are on Xbox and PC, primarily Xbox guys, they're like, it's great because it's a fanboy thing. It's great to say we got to win, especially something as big. But my whole thing is like, there are a lot of people who genuinely see this as a bad thing for gaming. It's a bad move. NFTs are coming. Believe it.
Yeah.
Believe it. They're coming. They're coming from Microsoft. NFTs are coming.
So I'm seeing
and
that the CNET.
last thing I'm going to say is this. Last thing I'm going to say, just I called this last generation when I said. Now I don't know if you remember when I said this. We were on a Planet Xbox podcast where I said Microsoft has positioned himself when they started buying studios, and this is right when we left and we started doing our own thing. I said Microsoft's positioned itself to become the biggest third-party publisher. What they're going to do is they're going to start absorbing companies, and then they can just dip out of that harbor race anytime, and they can say, you got to come to us for the software.
Yeah,
that's what they're.
They were talking about this on the CBS NBC, and basically
saw this as an amazing opportunity because gaming's continued growth over the
this
years.
Is what they were
Microsoft's
saying.
Big on gaming, we're continuing.
This kind of money to a deal.
Yeah,
like this.
I got playing.
Damn.
Yeah, well, as Bobby said, we talk all the time about the future of this amazing business.
Him and Bobby, good friends. Oh,
Gamers
damn.
On the planet today, people playing in all regions, creators coming from everywhere, and we're always sharing our strategy with our partners and talking to them about their feedback. I think we've always just had a good connection with the
big money,
Activision
man.
Blizzard about
Big
where
money.
we're trying to go. But honestly, this is a deal that happened pretty quickly. Like I'd say, we really had some formative discussions
Real
about
quickly.
This specific
Oh, damn.
opportunity late in the year, and we just felt like now was the right time to add the right resources and capability to both companies.
Is now the time, in part because Activision shares had been down
Fair
there? Down about
ball.
Oh, wait, here it
27%
is.
for the year to date. Did that make
The
this
shares were down
Damn.
28%.
They lost a quarter of their value.
Yeah.
I think as Bobby said, when we
Yeah, he won't say that,
Still
Phil.
gained it
out there,
back
look at
by
the
selling.
importance to us at Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah.
People playing on
Their
mobile,
value of
the
Activision
metaverse,
dropped
the
like
opportunity
28%.
we need with
Again.
Great IP. We really saw this as an amazing opportunity because gaming's continued growth over the years. Microsoft's big on gaming. We're continuing to invest here, and we see it as a real strong catalyst for us in the consumer category.
And it just goes to what I just want to say what Jesus is saying here. Now that there's become a publisher buyout wars instead of the games, that's what grinds my gears. Bought
not
W
like
for
you're buying
Microsoft, not earned. Can't wait for Sony to return that L. And you know what? That the thing is, and I think that's where a lot of people are bitter, is that Microsoft, instead of competing in the way that as gamers we benefit, because we always say competition is good, right? Like if Sony got Spider-Man and Wolverine, oh well, Microsoft, you could try to get the rest of the X-Men, or you could get maybe another franchise, or maybe DC. Remember, it was like, oh, you'll just get the Justice League, and Microsoft gets the Justice League to combat
Or
Sony,
the next Batman game,
or the
or
next
whatever.
Batman game, or something like that. That's the competition I think gamers want, because that generates games that we could play. That's why it's like, that's the competition. When people say this is competition, it's not on the same level, because basically it's not that competition, because that would give us more games. Like that would be like, hey, you know what? Now DC is lined up with Microsoft, and now Microsoft's giving us an exclusive Batman game or a Joker game or something like that. And now the competition yields product for us to play as gamers. This is beyond that. This is beyond that. This is for metaverses. This is for positioning of cloud and infrastructure. And when Phil says we're growing gaming and we're making a lot of investments, just think about it. All they have been doing since 2018 is buying studios and publishers. And all these lists, and you see them all over Twitter, 200 studios, all these IPs. How many games have they released since 2018 from these things? That's the point that I want to make. Sony bought Insomniac. They released 3 goddamn games, to 1 game before it, 2 games after they bought them, and announced 2 more games. That's a purchase that makes us excited, because those are games that are coming.
It's also they're giving you a new IP. We didn't expect Spider-Man. We got a brand new Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man game's coming out, but we got a new IP.
They purchased Fire Sprite last year, and now they're making a Horizon VR game.
Yeah, and they've consistently given us new IPs, and good quality IPs that we didn't expect. Nobody, when Ghost of Tsushima was announced, nobody knew what that game was, and when they showed it, people were like,
it's not
"Oh shit!"
It's not just new IPs. The thing is that the purchases are yielding games. That's the thing.
Right,
Like, it's not just new IP, because you know what, like it could be a licensed IP or whatever it is. But my thing is that Microsoft has made such an effort and investment in buying all these studios, all these publishers, 23. They got the Thanos picture of Phil. He don't even have hands anymore. He has so many things under him. But my thing is where are the games? Yeah, you say Microsoft has games. Well, let's see them. Where are they? You got all these publishers and all this content, all this IP. You got Machine Games, and all you hear is like, Machine Games, they got 2 studios working on games. They're making, like, apparently what? Everybody's making thousands. They could have probably 500 games in development for Microsoft. Yet we don't have gameplay to a single goddamn one.
No.
And on top of that, we don't even know what that game is going to be in the service of Game Pass. Is Perfect Dark going to be episodic because it's in Game Pass? We have no clue. And this is the problem that I have. They're buying and buying and buying. Where is the product? It's like a restaurant that's just buying the best ingredients, but they don't make a goddamn hamburger at all. It's like, well, wait, the kitchen's full with these best ingredients. You bought the ingredients. You bought the restaurant. Where are the customers? Where's the product? And nobody is asking Phil about
remember
this.
I said something to you, Jez, about the beginning of the year? I said, man, Sony has all these bangers and Microsoft doesn't have anything. Well, this
But they got
Microsoft's
thousands of studios, Frog.
No. This all Microsoft had to do is have this announcement, and they don't have to have games, because guess what? Those Xbox guys, those fanboys, those PC guys that were on Xbox's nuts in the 360 generation and moved from 360 to Xbox when they did the whole Game Pass thing, because a lot of PC guys are Xbox guys.
These guys don't get it. I'm
no
triggering on Twitter.
Disrespect to any PC guys, but there's a lot of PC guys I know that are disgruntled Xbox guys, so they just moved to PC because they're like, screw it. They are loving this news because they're like, well, I ain't got shit to play. I mean, I can play God of War, which basically looks the same as my PS4 Pro version. No, damn. You know, I can take the PS4 Pro version, put it on my PS5, and it looks basically virtually the same. I don't see a major fucking difference with that game on PC versus freaking it playing backward compatible on PS5. But some PC guy will tell me it's a huge drastic difference. It's not.
Well, this is what I'll say. Like, I like Kofi. Go watch Press Start podcast. But this is what I was trying to get with that other comment earlier on. When people go, the acquisitions don't affect me, and show all the different platforms that they play on, that's fine. But what you don't understand is that this is not the traditional console war that's happening.
And it's always a PC guy saying that shit. That's what I don't get.
Your problem is
primary PC guy saying that shit.
Your problem is not solved by owning all the platforms, because the difference is these games that Microsoft is buying are going to be structured for a service. I've said this for 5 goddamn years on this channel. I was worried about Halo 5 years ago when they said first-party games are going into Game Pass. I'm like, these games will be made for the subscription, not for the gamer. And that's exactly what happened. And now they're buying all these publishers, and they're going to turn these games into service games, and more so than they already are. So you could own all the Xboxes you can go buy, but guess what? That doesn't change the fact that Call of Duty might be a layered service game because of Game Pass 2 years from now. So you should be worried about gaming because Microsoft is funneling all their games through the service, and it will change the game for the service.
These guys that primarily play on PC are the main ones saying this. Anybody that
they'll be the first ones to pirate the game because they don't like the way it was made. So get out of here with that.
Yeah, they were like, oh, I'm going to steal the game.
They'll steal it if they don't like it. That's what they do. It's like, oh, I don't like that. They put this character. I don't like this. I'm just going to pirate it. They could crack it in an instant. So they have that out on PC. They could just steal the game if they don't like it. But the problem is turning games in.
He's primarily a PC
but
guy,
I'm saying turning games into a service. That's why this is not, oh, I got to go buy an Xbox now. No, the problem is how is Call of Duty going to be distributed in the future? Is it going to be piecemealed? Is it going to be service games? Look at Horizon adding the random goddamn way to unlock stuff is through a slot machine.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the games will be made. And if you don't want to believe me because you don't to listen to this channel and listen to what I've been saying for the last 5 goddamn years, is look at what happened to mobile gaming. Mobile gaming plummeted to $1 gaming, and then they went free to play with monetization on it. If you want to know, when you go into a store and pay $60 for a game, you're gonna go home and go, well, where's Forge mode? Where's campaign co-op? Oh, it's coming later. I just paid $60. I'm going to go play this 6 months from now when it's fully featured. Well, guess what? That $60 product on the shelf is not your traditional dad's and mom's $60 product. It's a product made for a service. Hell, the game is not even on the goddamn disc, Frog, right? You're buying Call of Duty, right. That's not even the goddamn game that you're getting. So your daddies and mommies $60 game on store shelves is not the same anymore because of goddamn services.
Somebody said Microsoft. Oh, it was Captain Crunch. Rooftop. He said Microsoft headquarters. And he said quotations. Rooftop party attendance is mandatory. You got the glory hole and the second sauce from the left.
Special sauce on the left. But that's the problem. This is not a coax to say, guys, go buy an Xbox. Xbox is not made. No, the thing is that Microsoft wants to funnel this stuff through a service, and that's the issue. What?
I like T. Harris. T. Harris said, "You can't keep steak, just buy the fucking cows."
Oh, that's exactly. You know, you can't make the milk, just buy the cow. So your other competition can't make the milk.
Right? Yeah, it's like I
Foreskin Frusk was right. Sony's getting smoked.
I can't wait for her to do a video and say how right she was.
Dude, and Sony's getting smoked.
I'm gonna probably get blocked by her because I'm gonna say you're the same chick that talk about sexism and you're a woman.
Oh, they're not. Who the hell knows what they're gonna do?
Guess what? She's talking about the same company that was drinking. The guys were drinking chicks' breast milk and watching them breastfeed their babies and all that. That's the kind of. My whole thing is like, come on now. So I just. The bottom line is you're right. I don't. This is not good. Number 2. The guys who primarily play on PC, the Alexes and the Kofi's, you don't have an opinion with me because all you do is for the most part, you talk about your PC, and you either pirate games or you get on there. There's a lot of guys that get games on the PC just to freaking benchmark them to say they got.
Well, those are PlayStation games on PC to benchmark
PlayStation games. They get on there, they benchmark them. They return them, or they just benchmark them. They buy them. They're like, I'm just going to buy it because I want to support it because I want more PlayStation games to come. Why?
Well,
because they want that same date like Microsoft. You know who really started this? This is why I was going to this. Who really started this was, and this is where it comes from. Microsoft wants to be Epic and Fortnite so bad with Tencent because Epic and Tencent have a deal, and Tencent owes a big share in Epic. Microsoft saw what Fortnite was doing. They wanted that Fortnite money. They want to be Tencent. Tencent has, $1 trillion company. Tencent got money. Microsoft wants to be them. And Microsoft's like, how can we do this? We'll make a service game. They're like, well, we just can't make a Fortnite clone. We'll fucking buy everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we can't buy Epic because Tencent's investing. They got money like we do long. So they're like, fuck, what do we do? Well, they can't buy anything from Google. Can't buy anything from Epic. Every time I think of the jackass that's driving his car with his 4-inch dick and all his money, I always think of Jeff Bezos' bald head ass. I don't know why. I just think Jeff Bezos getting out of Ferrari. Something about that guy that just irks me. I just want to punch him in his fucking face.
Uncle Festa.
I don't know. He has that fucking punchable fucking face. Like I just see Jeff Bezos, and I just want to punch him in his fucking face.
And you know what? The other thing too with the Brock wants to go out and knock out Uncle Festa. But this is the thing is that people are saying monopoly and all this other stuff. I wouldn't hold on to that saying like they're not going to push this through. I think that is probably going to go through.
They're going to push it through.
I think it's going to go through. But but the thing is like it's this it is scummy. And, I don't think it's good for gaming for the reasons that I mentioned about it trying to funnel everything through a service. And I do like the traditional ways that Nintendo and Sony do because you kind of, the product that you're purchasing. You know that Horizon is going to be a complete game on day one. Now, there may be games that get overpriced and an underdeveloped, that will happen, and you will get screwed sometimes. But
I'm
you
gonna
could,
respond to Miguel.
but you
Miguel
could
said
say, like, you know where your money is going, and that's kind of where it is. It's like you don't know when you buy Halo for $60, you don't know where your money's going because you have yet to
I'll
see
respond to you too, Big Buds. So Miguel said Sony to become third party. No, well, Miguel, Microsoft knows that Sony's leading the industry. What if Microsoft just
Lex
becomes the
Luthor.
guy?
Dylan.
Lex Luthor. What if Microsoft becomes the guy that says, "Well, we own this service and we're going to put it there because we know it can sell your platform."
Small dick
Number
big
two,
money.
Big Bud said Call of Duty ain't been good for years. Well,
Yeah.
Big Bud, if Call of Duty ain't been good for years, why is it the best-selling game almost every year? See, when you make statements like that, I don't get it. It's not good for you, but the fact of the matter is, it's the best-selling game almost every year. It's always in MPDs. It sells big every year.
Ooh.
So when you saying it hasn't been good for years, what do you mean by that? Has it not been good for you, or do you think it's trash? Or are you saying it's not making money? I just kind of want it because this general statement hasn't been good for years. Like, it's making money. Truckloads of money. Obviously, there's a reason that that people are pissed that it's happening. It's not just because they're making money. It's because you're taking a franchise that's a big multiplayer. Every year, Call of Duty comes out and trounces everything. Unless it's a GTA game or something really huge, it trounces everything in sales. It trounces everything.
No,
so
it
I don't
sells
know.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Even this year, the worst selling Call of Duty, it still trounced everything.
Yeah.
Still freaking it destroyed everything. So what do you mean it has been good in years? I don't
Well,
know. When people say that.
but Frog, you know what the thing is
I don't
though
get it.
is that I understand that people just like some people just have been disgusted with Call of Duty over the last things, and maybe they're just not into it. But as some people who play Call of Duty year in and year out on the PlayStation, the question is like, well, what does this mean for me? And I think that's where the question is going to be, and that's why this is definitely more impactful to Sony than the Bethesda deal. Yo, what's up, Axel? How you doing, man?
This would have been like Microsoft came out and said they bought Epic and they got Fortnite. You know what? I don't play Fortnite.
Frog, it could get messy, Frog. I don't know. See,
the shit out of what Epic's doing.
See, Frog,
with it.
I don't know how messy this is gonna get. Like this could get messy. Sony could be there. We saw Tencent making purchases, and Sony could be there and say we're gonna do something with Epic or something like that. Like
it's the scariest thing.
It could get messy, and the thing is that I don't know where this is gonna go, and again, this is just gonna be a huge topic. This is huge, and the fact that we don't know what's gonna happen to the games, and and like I said, DJ, like I think in a prediction of what's gonna happen, never say never, but I think that Warzone will remain on PlayStation, but I think that the Call of Duties, the annual ones, will be kind of favored towards Game Pass, where maybe you get a zombies mode with the Game Pass, or maybe they'll have the campaign in Game Pass, the multiplayer cross-platform. They're gonna do something to leverage Game Pass because like what people are saying, they don't spend $70 billion just to put the same game that's gonna go on PlayStation and Game Pass. They're going to leverage it, and the thing is even if they don't do it in the first year or two, I mentioned this before. Microsoft has the game ball, and they could take it away whenever they want. If Sony does a deal and they say, hey, Wolverine 2, 4, 5, and all this stuff, Microsoft's like, you know what? We need to leverage Game Pass. They're going to use Call of Duty and Bethesda games to leverage it. Like a perfect example is Starfield. Hey, Game Pass only went up 7 million in a year that we dropped our biggest franchise in Halo. We went from 18 million to 25 million in a year, Frog. Guess what? They looked at those numbers and they said, but Frog, they looked at those numbers and they're like, yo, Starfield needs to come to Game Pass exclusively. We need that. Because I'm telling you, if Game Pass probably was at 50, 70 million or something like that, they probably would have said, you know what, we're growing amazingly. Again, put Starfield on both platforms. We'll see.
Yep. And some of my friends that are on PC and Game Pass, they went to Game Pass because they don't have Xboxes. They swear Game Pass is the end all be all. It's the best thing, but they are super casual. They can admit, hey, there's not enough first party value there, but they're like, oh, it's the fact that I'm on a PC and I get to play, these games for free. And when I mean free, I mean you have to pay a subscription, but you get so much content. This is good for them. The other thing is, and I'll say this is it will be something to see because Sony has an invested interest in Epic. Tencent has an invested interest in Epic. I don't know if Sony's now Tencent. If people don't know, Tencent's a Chinese corporation. They're Chinese, which we really.
Well, they just did a big purchase too. What did they just buy?
Yeah,
Who did
I
Tencent
forgot.
just? I mean, I'll say.
But I will honestly say, like, you really don't want to mess with the Chinese. Like, that's our problem now. Too many people have investments in the Chinese, and the Chinese are screwing them over. But at this point, don't be surprised if you see Sony and maybe Tencent do something.
Oh, they bought the Back for Blood dev.
There you go, the Back for Blood dev. That's who it was. So my whole thing
Turtle
is
Rock.
Tencent is out there. Tencent, there's 3 people out there buying up everything. And it's Amazon. I think is it Amazon, Tencent, and Microsoft are buying.
But Sony's pretty big in the thing. But again, like
and Sony's big there too. But Tencent right now. Microsoft is like, oh shit, Tencent is buying everybody. I mean, if you really look at Tencent's portfolio, they have a shitload of people they own.
Yeah, actually, you want to jump on? Come in the Discord.
No, yeah, you can come.
I think
they're buying everybody. And don't be surprised. Like I said. If you're talking about a counter to this, the only counter punch that Sony can even do is to buy Epic, because Fortnite right now is the only thing that can really say we can compete against.
And
Call
then
of
they'll
Duty.
own the engine too. They'll own Unreal 5.
They're on Unreal, and that's the only thing Sony could do is to buy Epic, which I don't think that would happen because Tencent has an investor share, but Tencent's a pretty dirty company.
I can't see.
I'm sorry.
Like, I just can't see Sony doing that stuff. Like, never say never. Like, I could see that happening, but I do. Microsoft is playing a different game. And I don't want to say like the big leagues compared to the minor leagues, but like Microsoft is buying stuff at such a high level that like what I said before, it's almost chaotic on how they're purchasing, because it doesn't. Wait, I was gonna finish this, Frog. Like, the thing is that it's almost chaotic on the way they're buying stuff. They're buying Call of Duties when they got the Halos. They're buying all these Western RPGs when they got Obsidian making games. Like, it just seems very chaotic, unorganized, and just quantity and quantity and quantity. And that's where I feel that this don't kind of resonate real well, because like it just feels like it's a lot of just redundancies and buying stuff and just owning so much IP. And is Microsoft going to do anything with that, since we haven't seen the curation and quality management of the studios they purchased?
You're my number one customer
in 2018. Shout out to Socrates with 25. He says, "Sup guys, Disney shares fell this week because they announced more investing in content, while at the same time Disney Plus subs flatlined. Microsoft won't give us new AAA." They're not going to. And that's exactly what I was saying, Socrates, is that all this IP, you sit here as a gamer going, oh my God, they could do this, they could do that. They got all this IP. Is Microsoft going to break the mold and take a risk and maybe cross Doom and Halo, or make Crash and Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot with Banjo and things like that? Are they going to do that stuff like that you would think that they would do? And I don't think they should do it. They're not. I don't think so. I think Activision and Bethesda are going to be on their own paths. I think Microsoft is just going to control the distribution through Game Pass and what parts of those games are allowable on multi-platform. Microsoft is going to dictate, depending on their Game Pass growth, on how those games are distributed and where they're going to wind up as the umbrella to these two companies. I don't think they're going to get in there and booty going to be clapping and be like, you know what, I want, Activision, I want you to make a Crash Bandicoot exclusive game, and I want you to put Banjo in it and a crossover. I just don't think Microsoft has the mentality right now to take this IP and do something with it. Look what they did with the Initiative as a perfect example of how they do it. They built this group of all these people that they hired to work on Perfect Dark, a franchise that they did nothing with or promote, and then 4 years later, I'll send Alex link. Okay. Then 3 years later, say we need help and tap on a third-party publisher with Crystal Dynamics to help them out on their mega studio quadruple A game of Perfect Dark, which we have yet to see any gameplay of over a year ago. That's just a microcosm of If they can't do that with the initiative, how are they going to do this with these huge publishers? How are they going to show with great power and IP comes responsibility and quality games? We just got Halo Trees. That is their biggest franchise. Look at the quality of that game. That game would have been run through the mud if they didn't show you a lower quality game the year before. But because they showed such a horrible game the year before and they improved, put lipstick on a pig the year after, everybody gave them the participation trophy. So look at how they're managing their studios, and this is just more on top of that. It's just quantity, and it's the carrot that keeps people going, wow, this is something I'm going to invest. Game Pass is going to have Call of Duties in them, so I'm signing up for Game Pass. All this is carrots on a stick. We have yet to see the results of this investment in gaming that Microsoft is doing. However, Sony is buying stuff, and we're seeing the fruits of their labor almost immediately. They're buying a studio when a game is announced. Like, we're going to probably see something from Housemarque before we even figure out what the hell Compulsion Games is working on. Who the hell knows? But
True.
This is just ridiculous, and I just think, I just don't want all my games, and now games and franchises that I know are going to turn into this service upon a service, put in Game Pass, and that's the best way to play, because if you pay $60 or $70, you're getting the sucker version of it.
Yeah, I want to say something, and we can let Axel in here.
Yeah.
I noticed today that the news has been so bad for Xbox that all these guys who are kind of Xbox news guys all of a sudden, oh man, their news is all over the place. We would have did this news regardless, but like all the news from all these guys who normally Young Ye, I don't really watch Young Ye, but
yeah,
all these guys out of nowhere just making these videos. And
but this is the biggest Frog. This is the biggest purchase in friggin' gaming.
Oh, it's huge.
This is like a Nintendo Sega game, like bigger than that. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Huge.
I'm not gonna, and nobody can deny it's a big deal. And then the other thing is, not
Microsoft
only is it
Flex,
big deal,
they did the only thing they can do is just buy the gaming industry, and that's what they're doing.
You have to be able to see what, and like I said, I would love to see what gaming gains from this. What do gamers gain by Microsoft owning this? But go ahead and let Axel in. I know
Axel, I'm gonna let him in. I think I get to Twitter here.
I'm gonna put it through Twitter.
Yeah, hit that like button, grinders.
Blowing up in the middle of oceans. We got tsunamis. We got all kind of stuff on. Microsoft buying Activision, earthquakes. Like, what's really going on here?
Actually, I put it in the Discord, the salty one.
Hey, stop!
I know.
And somebody's at my door. No matter what I do when I try to podcast, somebody's always at my door.
Yeah.
Oh, is it Phil Ness?
Yeah,
who's at my
Phil
door?
Ness, dude. But like, I just think that dude, the thing is that I think that this is the only move that they could have made. It's not the move that I think gamers really wanted, because I think we wanted the competition. When we said competition is good, the competition of that, you make a great game, Sony makes a great game, you do this move, you get Wolverine exclusive, we get DC exclusive, and kind of that back and forth. But this is beyond that. And this is a bigger thing. Metaverse, service games, annual releases of Call of Duty. This is bigger than that. And that's where I think the confusion and kind of the craziness is coming from. What's up, Axel? How you doing?
What's up, guys?
What a crazy day. What do you think about this crazy ass news?
I'm still in shock a little bit. Okay, there's a lot to talk about, and you guys have been talking a lot about really, really cool topics and a lot of cool perspectives and stuff. But one thing that I think a lot of people haven't really mentioned is they finally actually told us how many subscribers are on Game Pass.
Oh yeah,
for the first time in a year. And I'm not sure if that's a big enough positive impact to only gain how many? 6 million, 7 million subscribers?
They went from 18 to
25, and that's after dropping 2 of their biggest franchises on Game Pass.
Yep.
Halo and Forza. I would have assumed that number would have been at least minimum 30 million. With those juggernauts of IPs. And it just kind of shows you that unless you're dropping content on there on the regular, people are just going to activate and cancel and reactivate and cancel and do the whole, do that a couple times a year or once or twice a year, like me. Like I've only activated or I've only reactivated my Game Pass twice, and that's only to try those games, and then I'm just like, man, I'm done.
Exactly, especially when you release them in like 2 months, like in October and November. Like, there you go.
One quarter, you get all the games in 1 quarter of the whole year.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, cool. They got $30 from one person when they could have gotten whatever 15 times 12 is. But anyways, it's so I think that's the big play here, isn't it? To try to put all these IPs on Game Pass to increase the subscriber number, and then at the end of the day, when all the extreme Sony fanboys are crying to Microsoft saying, oh, why are you keeping Call of Duty away from us? Why are you keeping Tony Hawk? They're going to say, well, we're not. Sony is. We already, it's on Game Pass. If Sony wants Game Pass on their system, we're all for it. We want Game Pass on everything because we love gaming. We care about gaming, and and then do this whole kumbaya thing about gaming.
Yep.
And so it will be really interesting. Like you said, how they're going to move forward with this and all the different studios, and if there's going to be any shakeups, because ultimately what I'm really hoping comes out of this, and I just kind of heard some of the Digital Foundry talk about this, and they bring a really good point, is I really, really hope that they change the culture at Activision and Blizzard. If there's one good thing that can come out of this, is Microsoft to say,
oh yeah, they're not dealing with that stuff
like now.
I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah,
I hope if
they will
get
change
anything
that.
out of this, hope that does happen. Yeah, I definitely think that'll happen.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes, because I mean they'll have to make a public statement of some sorts, about that as well, because it's like, it's just weird, like all these lawsuits, and then Microsoft's like, hey, we're buying them. I don't know if because they're on a discount right now.
Yeah, they're like 28%. Their shares went down because of this whole thing, and and I think they're gonna, dude, they planted. Who even knows that Ybarra was the whistleblower? They must have put him in there as a plant. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, obviously Microsoft's not gonna deal with that. You're dealing with big corporation, the huge company. They're not gonna have that liability, and now that it's been all public, everything that they do to improve that, like give soft skills training to Bobby Kotick and all that other stuff, like all that stuff is going to be documented and recognized as Microsoft cleaning them up. And I'm saying, like, that's definitely something that could benefit, from here, because Activision was kind of, like it was kind of again, Microsoft just swoops in like the Mothman, man. They just come in and go, what? The turmoil, all this other stuff. Well, here's a check. We'll buy you.
Yep. So yeah, dude, it's gonna be really interesting. And for the people that are worried, like, oh my God, all these games are going away. They haven't really announced anything, so we don't know if everything is gonna be exclusive. But B, I mean, at the end of the day, it does bring more value to Game Pass, which is a good thing. Now, is it more value to you? Like for me,
that's if they keep the price too.
That's if they keep the price. That's exactly right. And the thing is, even if they increase the price, it's not about the price though. And I think we've talked about this many times, Jez. It's not about the price. It's about the content. It's about the software, how much is in there. Because if it was $25 a month, okay, I'll pay it. But what am I getting for that?
Yeah, and what's the cadence? Like, what's the release? Like you said, like if you just saying, oh, well, now guess what? They got, so this year with this $70 billion, you're like, well, okay, they got Starfield and Call of Duty in November, so sign up for Game Pass for $30 for $15 in November, and maybe you buy December if you're still playing those games, and you're good.
Right.
That's kind of that's what they got to get away from. They need to be having games in January, February, March, like what Sony has. Like they got a lineup. Like Microsoft used to have lineups. Now they just have like stealth drops that they drop once a year, and it's like that's not how you do a subscription service. Like people are just going to jump on and jump off.
Do you think that? I mean, do you think that's the ultimate plan? Because with Bethesda, buying games, buying publishers and studios that are that create Fallout and create Elder Scrolls. I mean, Elder Scrolls is there's still people that play that game from like 15 years ago today still. So if they're huge Elder Scroll fans, chances are they're probably going to subscribe and just get all the DLC and all the stuff included in the service. Unless they're like hardcore PC gamers, and then they'll probably just get it on Steam. But
Yeah.
and then with this acquisition, they got what
They got Overwatch. Where's
Overwatch. That's a
2?
huge one.
Diablo 4.
And
It's coming out Diablo 4.
Yep, the Diablos, right?
Crash Bandicoots and Spyros, and what else they got? They got the
Yeah, but I'm talking more specifically of those MMO games, like the RPG
World of Warcraft.
MMO games. World of Warcraft. Thank you. That's the one. And StarCraft and stuff.
And StarCraft.
So yeah, so people that are like huge fans of those, there's going to be a lot of them, and there's millions out there. There are millions.
But then those games
of
not going to
Warcraft.
Game Pass. Maybe they put their expansions in Game Pass or something like that.
Right,
But those
they're
games
going
are
to have
already
to offer. Yeah, they're going to have to offer something to make those existing gamers go, you know what? I think it's worth for me to sign up on Game Pass instead of just buying the game on Steam or whatever for one time.
Or
they're going to
include
have to
Game
give
Pass
you a
in their
lot.
monthly subscription for World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah,
Like they already
Lock it
pay
in.
monthly subscriptions, like for World of Warcraft. They could be like, hey, you know what? You could upgrade to Game Pass and get access to all these other games. But I'm telling you, they could do so much. However, the issue is that everything that they could do is just gonna change what we perceive as like a complete game. That's how I feel. Like I feel like everything that they can do sounds great for them. How they can monetize it and flip it and service all these games. And Sekiro too. It goes to New Orleans. It's Sekiro. You know and I just feel like I just don't want my future of gaming to be a subscription for a subscription for a subscription.
Yep.
And that's where I just don't like. I don't want Call of Duty to be layered where $15 a month gives you Call of Duty and these other games. Plus, you got to do, you want the season pass, you got to pay for that, and then you got to, you want this, you got to pay for that. Like, look at Halo layering stuff on top of it, and then look at Halo as a perfect example of the single player. Like, you pay $60, and that campaign is not fully featured, and there's modes that are not there, Forge and co-op, and so now you say, hey, the better way to get Halo is probably through Game Pass. And that's what I'm worried, that they have the power now to make these games better and formatted for a service so that you could still buy it, but the service is probably the better way to go. And I just feel that, it's going to be, they got a lot of IP, and, we'll see, what they do. But like you were saying, StarCraft, Diablo, they got huge PC franchises, and they also got all the mobile. They got Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars. Like, they're going to make so much friggin' money like on these things just because these games are like just sitting out there just building money. Like, all they got to do is keep the lights on, and all the money for Candy Crushes and World of Warcraft all just goes to them. If you have the money, it is definitely a huge buy. Like, if they have the money, it's just, what does this mean for gamers? I don't know. And for Sony, I think this puts Sony in a corner. I think Sony now is really kind of, they're just going to have to put their head down and really pump out some amazing games. But I do think that when it comes to their third party and their third party leverage, they do have the mind share. But I do think that this, you can't be like your third party is going to be all consumed by Microsoft, and Microsoft's going to determine what comes to your platform and what doesn't.
Right.
So, like, that's the thing. You can't rely on Call of Duty now anymore. Like, I would say, because Call of Duty is a moving ship now, right now. Like, I don't think they're sitting there going, oh, well, we got Call of Duty revenue next year, so we could front load our year and we'll carry Call of Duty at the end. You know what I mean? And rely on Call of Duty, because Microsoft could easily pull the plug and go, you know what? You're only getting campaign this year. Multiplayer is going to be in Battle Pass. So you're only getting like this part of it. We're putting this in Game Pass. You don't know. But Sony can't sit there and rest on their, we got the third party deals with Call of Duty. That'll carry us through the holiday. Sony's going to have to come up with their own multiplayer too, I think, too. Especially if they want to do that PSN. That's a big driver of their multiplayer games. So I don't know, man. It's puts them in trouble.
Sony really is. I mean, they've always done this, but I really do think they have a lot of stuff that obviously, obviously when we talk about years down the road, obviously they're working on concepts and early stuff of hardware and software that we don't know about yet. But as far as something that's coming out in the near future, and by near future I mean within like 12 to 24 months, um, I think there's a lot that they're going to drop, whether it's just news or actual content that we don't even know yet. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
the
agree.
state of play should be coming up. I think next month is February is usually the month that they do the state of plays, right? If I'm
Well, if
correct.
they're gonna do it, and they dropped a thing about a Trematus today, like a little video clip. Like I just
Yeah,
I
well,
just
I told this strictly gaming like reposted that, and when I saw that little clip, it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, what if they're foreshadowing? What if they're foreshadowing that Aloy Sony and that giant juggernaut elephant thing is Microsoft and she's taking it down? Like, what if that's just like, hey, there's a little foreshadowing here. I don't
yeah.
know.
But then
Something's
when
gonna
she takes
happen.
it down, the thing uses a revive cash in. It's like I cannot. I have this revive. I purchased a revive. I got all these microtransactions, these NFTs of revive. So
Yeah.
you can't kill me, Aloy. Like I don't know. It is a good point. I saw that, like that you said that, because yeah, it definitely is something like taking on the Trematusk, but like eh, they got to feel that way. I think that is definitely something. They got to feel that way, that Microsoft just basically is buying every like their industry, and they're kind of like Aloy out there fighting this huge Trematusk, like with this like, hey, I'm gonna just be shooting arrows at you. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
and I mean, we know for a fact that they're working on what, 6 or 7 multiplayer first party games, first and second party games
Yeah.
that are going to be exclusive to PlayStation. Um, on top of that, you have PSVR 2, which we haven't even seen or
Yep.
know what the cost is or what bundles are going to include or when officially that comes out. So there's a lot more hardware and software to be dropped there. Um, and yeah, I just think it's one of those things we just kind of gotta sit tight and just stay hyped for what we were already hyped for.
Yeah.
Horizon, God of War,
Well,
Sifu.
yeah, that's the thing. When it comes down to the games, like this, like I said before, like this does not bring new games to the Xbox platform.
Right.
like
Right.
Xbox fans and us sitting there going, "Oh my God, look at all these games that Microsoft's bringing to our server." Like you were getting these games anyway. Same thing goes for Bethesda. You were getting Starfield and all those Bethesda games anyway. This is
Mm-hmm.
a Microsoft move. This is not a gamer move. The only way it benefits you is if they're going to put these games in Game Pass, which you're already subscribing for, and they keep the price at $15 a month and give you all this content. For
Right.
example,
Yeah.
look at Ubisoft. They're not putting their service in Game Pass. That's a separate service for $15. They came out that day and said it. So
Mm-hmm.
now, who says that now Call of Duty showing up in Game Pass, Phil's not going to be like, hey, Game Pass is going up $5 or going up $3 to $17.99 because we're putting Game Pass in. We're putting Call of Duty in Game Pass every year. That's
Yep,
something
that's
that
the
comes out
Phil
every
Ness.
year. There's the Phil Ness. And now everybody, the value of Game Pass, Netflix is doing it, increasing everything. Netflix didn't buy any companies. They're like, hey, we're going up $1, cost of business. And,
Yep.
and my thing is like, I don't, if that's what they want to do, that's what I'll do. But I don't want that to affect other gaming, and then them doing these big buyouts is affecting the gaming industry. Like this is changing the gaming industry because they're going now Call of Duty is going to be in a subscription service day and date, which is crazy because it already was kind of a subscription game for $70. So like, is it going to be more subscription? It does. And what's funny is Eric the Beard said something. I think Alex, you were saying, Axel, you were saying, or Frog was saying, it was like, oh no, Sick I think was saying it earlier today. He goes, Sony's playing chess. What if these publisher buyouts are a response to something Sony has in the works and not
Yep.
the other way around? Maybe. So you're
Yep.
saying
I
maybe
mean,
this is a defensive move.
So
Yeah.
maybe Microsoft knows, like, oh shoot, Sony bought they got some big deals they purchased, and we have to do this. We're not gonna. And so maybe, who knows? Maybe Sony does have some big deals, and I don't know what big enough deal. Like I said, with Activision and them getting Call of Duty, I think the biggest deal to only count of that would be Epic with Fortnite, because Fortnite is probably equally as big as Call of Duty. And but that would mean, and a lot of people I've seen say, hey, partner with the Japanese companies or buy these Japanese companies out. But I don't really think that works for Sony because they have such good relationships with
They
the
don't need
Segas and
to.
the
They're
Square.
already.
They don't need to.
And that's the other thing,
So
Frog. Like you have the mind share, like you're saying, like they got the mind share. They're ready. Like, they don't have, and I always said this before, like, they don't have to buy Square Enix to get Final Fantasy 16. They didn't have to buy Square Enix to get Forspoken for 2 years exclusively. So, like, they didn't have to buy Bethesda to get the friggin' Deathloop.
I was just going to say this.
Oh, sorry.
There is one studio I think they can buy that I think could rival. As far as just that one game, there's only one studio I think they could buy to make a game for them to put them on that same level as a Call of Duty, and I think that would be Bungie. Bungie's the only studio I think they can buy and make them an exclusive first-person shooter to put them on a level.
That would be a big one. You're right. If they bought Bungie and made like Destiny 3 on...
Yeah, Destiny is only on PlayStation, and people will say gatekeep. I want Destiny to be made multi-plat because I like the fact that I can play with my Xbox friends on my PS5. So I think that maybe a Bungie maybe they buy Bungie and they make a brand new IP for them. Something akin to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I agree. Gadget's saying, like, he thinks that they don't need to buy them, but I was just making a point that they didn't have to, for gamers, for getting us games, they didn't have to buy these studios and do handshakes and roundtables to get games on their platform. Sony's just getting them from their negotiations. Like, Microsoft is a big deal. But
have you heard Kev, I don't know if you guys have heard this rumor that's been going around. The next Grand Theft Auto is supposed to be exclusive to PS5. I keep hearing this rumor. Keep hearing Grand Theft Auto 6 is only going to be on PS5 for like X amount of years, and then it's going to come on. And I was like, maybe they're scared of that. I think maybe there is something, maybe Sick has a point. Maybe there is something we don't know that Sony has done in the industry, or they're working on, and Microsoft is like, because let's be honest. Do you think that? Because usually when companies want to sell themselves, they go to different people and say, "Hey, do you want to buy? Do you want to buy?" Or do you think Microsoft just approched them and it's like, "Hey, we want to buy"?
They said Microsoft approched them. That's what he said in that CNBC interview. Microsoft approached Activision.
If that's the case, I'm pretty sure Microsoft sat there and looked and said, "Hey, with all this scandal stuff and all this stuff going on, we could probably pick them up for a pretty penny."
Oh, no, they timed it perfectly. Like I said, Phil spent the Microsoft's been sniffing out anybody that's in turmoil where they could scoop them up and give them the power, and they're willing to do this because think about it. How was Activision? The amount of money that Activision would need to fight back and to gain the good graces of people after that disaster, the only way they could do it is just get absorbed by Microsoft and let Microsoft like fix them up. Like that's the only out that Activision had.
Sony obviously
there was not going to. They were hated to begin with, and now they're even more hated in the social media.
Yeah, Herman Holtz. You see his response to the company, and I think that really turned Activision off. Their response, he didn't like that. They didn't like his response, so I think that's why they went with Microsoft. Because when that whole thing came on Activision, I believe it was Herman Holtz that responded to it.
Frog, exactly your question right here. Wall Street Journal says that Microsoft CEO approached Activision in November about the deal. Phil Spencer said he would only acquire if the workplace situation was improving. We see the progress that they're making. That was pretty fundamental in deciding for us to go forward. So there it was.
Wow.
He approached him in November.
Wow.
And let's be real here. I mean, these multi-billion-dollar companies, a lot of these executives and like vice presidents and stuff, they're like a lot of them are friends in real life. Like they know. I'm sure Sony knew about this a long time, way before we, so. And vice versa. Microsoft also knows exactly what Sony's going to do, at least within the next 12 months. He said this happened
pretty fast. Like Phil said in the interview that this happened pretty fast. Like he just went over there, and this wasn't something like 6 months in the making.
I was going to say this. I don't know nobody's probably brought this up, but I know they showed like the top gaming companies, like the people who made the most. Bobby Kotick was number 2. Bobby Kotick, he made 300. Was it 300 mil by himself? His salary last year, he's number 2. He was number 2. I was like 300
number
mil.
2.
Yeah, that's a lot of money for one person to make. So he made 300 mil by himself, and he was number 2. And I was like, as much stuff as Activision went through, you would think that, he still made a bank. He still made a lot of money.
I tell you, when you think about it, man, when you think about this thing, it was such a move because now Microsoft can even look like the heroes because now when Activision gets their stuff together, they can be like, look,
And like, we
Microsoft
turned them
is
around.
an equal opportunity. All this stuff, like they could do this whole PR spin that we took this company that was in trouble, that the
We
sexism
already
and
know what
stuff.
they're gonna do.
They
Yeah, we
got the
already know.
PR ready to go, like how they
They
turned it
got it ready to
around.
go.
They
Yeah.
got it all ready to go. Like we said, you
And I
improve your
can't-
workspace, and we will buy you, and there you go.
I
And
can't be mad at them for that. I
no,
really can't.
it's right. And it's just good for the company. It's good optics per se of Microsoft to do this stuff. But
I
again,
guess my biggest.
but Frog, if you think about it though, does it have to do with
What happened?
gaming?
Yeah.
Exactly. We were saying the same thing. Does
No.
it have to do with gaming? Not
It doesn't.
really. Does it have to do with bringing great games to your platform? No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
This is
It doesn't.
all. This is all just. That's why I said like this is just so high level stuff that I think it's more. I think the long term we need to see how Sony responds to this stuff. And
Next generation, if Microsoft does not want to make a console and they say their Series X is their last console and they're straight going to, it's all going to be an Xbox, what's it called, the Game Pass, and that's the way you play. And if they make a PlayStation 6, people will say, oh, yeah, well, yeah, you can, it'll be all game. They don't have to. They're positioning themselves to say, and that's why Phil made that statement that Sony was going to have to do a model like Game Pass sooner than later.
yeah, right. It's
think-
inevitable. We talked about it yesterday. It's
Yeah, I
inevitable
think-
because they're
I think-
buying the whole goddamn industry.
And everybody, he's like, shit, if you don't buy them, we'll buy them on. Then you'll be sitting there and then, we can make money off of you. We don't have to develop hardware. We'll let you develop the hardware. We'll put our games on your hardware. And guess what? We'll be the biggest third-party developer.
That's why Phil said
You
it's
know?
inevitable because he knows that, hey, we plan on buying the whole friggin' industry, so it's inevitable that you're going to go this route. And and yeah, put your games on PC because that benefits Microsoft. Like that's what I said. It's
Yeah,
this web of interaction between Sony and Microsoft. Like you don't know. Maybe that's why MLB The Show went into Game Pass. Like maybe these are negotiations that Sony could be like, hey, we'll put our games there, but I don't know.
Maybe they're planning for that. And maybe this is as bad as it sounds. Maybe we're planning. They're planning to say, you know what? We know you're going to trounce us this generation. We're going to go ahead and do a Game Pass model. We're not going to tell anybody the last minute. We're going to release Game Pass on PlayStation. And you can put some of your games there too, and they can come out there. Because we're out of the console business, Jen. You guys can keep making consoles. And that service will just be your service too. Maybe that's where they're going. Maybe Sony sat back with them and said, look, we're going to call a truce. We're beating you. You can't beat us. Microsoft said, well, you don't have that much. You don't have the money we have. So we'll give you the service. You just make the hardware. You got the brand recognition in the name, and you continue forward like that. Would that hurt a lot of people that play on Xbox? It would, but I guess it wouldn't if they could play Game Pass on the PlayStation to a certain extent.
No, because they're allergic to the DualSense though, Frogs. They won't be able to use the controller. They're also, what are they going to do without batteries? I mean, for God's sakes, let's keep them in our prayers.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, I mean, you do bring up a good point there. But also, the other thing to think about, and I think this is something that we will see, like you guys are talking about, like Sony coming out with rebranded or like a different subscription service, because we already see the ball rolling with them removing the PS Now cards from retail in the UK and stuff. So I mean, there's something's happening really soon. But I would be all for like an indie pass, right? You pay $10-15 a month and you get your Sifus, you get your Fists, you get your all these awesome, like high quality indie games.
So I think that's what's going to come to that service.
Yeah, and it would be awesome. They're like, hey, you pay us this much, but we don't want to decrease the quality of our AAA games. So what we'll do is, instead of charging you even more per month to try to put some of these games on there at no additional cost, how about we lower the cost of a service, so it's $10 a month instead of 15 or 20 like Game Pass, right? And they're like, hey, we're gonna give you God of War Ragnarok for half off. So it's like, hey, you pay $10 a month for the service, but then every AAA game is like 50% off, like something like that. Even I would be for. I mean, that would be pretty amazing. But
yeah, that'd be really awesome. I don't know if Sony's gonna do that.
Yeah,
because it could make it where it make dollar make sense. They have to be able to make money sense of it. I don't know if they would do that. The fact that they raised their console games by $10, which I don't have a problem with that, because we've sat at 59 for quite some time. I remember a point in the 360 generation where Microsoft clearly said our games will be $49 and third parties can charge what they want. And then when Gears of War came out, it was $59, and people were like, "Wait a minute!" And that just told you it wasn't a first party game. It just, they just had Epic make it for them,
Yeah.
And so that started the $59 mark was Gears of Gears. I remember when Gears came out. I was like, wait, why is this not 49? It's 59. Because I always used to games being 49. And they jumped there with 39, 49, and N64 was a little bit different. But what I'm saying is maybe we do something like that. Maybe Sony. I think some people are expecting Sony to react. Sony hasn't said anything on any timeline. And Sony is, if this caught them off guard, then maybe they're not going to react anytime soon. But I think that Sony's always calculated. Microsoft, this came out of the blue. Nobody saw this coming, and I think this is a very well kept secret. I don't even think.
I think they woke up to the news. Apparently, it's like Activision. They woke up to the news.
They said people high in the company, with the exception of probably Bobby Kotick, they didn't even know this was happening at Activision. They didn't know, and so the news is a surprise to them. So I think this is definitely a gut punch. And yes, with all the franchises they own, Call of Duty is that one franchise. It's like,
and there's no rumors of it either. Like Microsoft bidding for Activision, because they probably didn't want to go into bidding. Phil just went over there going, "Yo, we'll buy you if you fix up your studios."
Above market
and that's
value,
it, because because they didn't want a bidding war. Because I bet you Sony probably would have said, maybe Sony. Well, I don't think Sony's going to spend that much money, but. They definitely went on the down low and bought this thing, man.
I still think, I still wouldn't want them to be purchased by one of the big three players. I don't, if like Amazon went there, it's like, hey, we're going to buy them and we're going to publish your games. I just think that it's better they, if like an EA went there and bought, I don't know. One of the big three, it's like, that's like if Microsoft buys EA, I'm like, damn, here we go again.
They're going to get the sports franchises. They're already in Game Pass. They're already in Game Pass.
EA is next. EA is just a matter of time.
EA is next because they're already in Game Pass.
Ubisoft is like that last company that I'm sitting there like, well, if Ubisoft goes in, do I consider?
They're going to own all of them. They're going to umbrella all of these studios.
We went on Xbox at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Frog, we went through this. Are those studios, the EA, even Activision per se, Activision, but in like early Call of Duty time and before that, they were making all different games and stuff. Come on, all these games these are like EA, Ubisoft, Activision. They're all kind of old fogies resting on their laurels, like still resting on Maddens and EA. They didn't do Def Jam. Like EA was making so many friggin' games back then. Now they haven't released games in the last 3 years. Yeah, they released some indie partnership games, but like really, what's on top of that? Same thing with Ubisoft. Like I was talking about it earlier. Ubisoft, what is their release schedule for this year? An expansion, Extraction? Like
Extraction, yeah.
What else? Assassin's Creed, the service game?
Yeah, that's it.
The service game.
Where's and this is the last point. The point I want to make here too is that these companies, even Bethesda and Activision, they seem to be like the black hole of games. And I'm not going to say that like they have games that are just like in developmental. We don't know where they are, and the same thing like with the Starfield game, like that was in development for so long. And there are other studios. They're not in like pumping out games left and right. Bethesda was very aggressive early on in the generation of the Xbox One. And then just kind of teed it off after Prey and if the Doom Eternal, like they just kind of just spotty now with releasing games. Same thing goes for Activision. Activision, you look at all those franchises they have, all they really did was they did a friggin' Tony Hawk remake and they did Call of Duty. Like Call of Duty was their thing every year. So like you look at like where's Overwatch 2? Where is Diablo 4? Diablo taking forever, a decade in development. You look at them and they just don't seem like the corporations that you would want to be part of a service where you want people paying a monthly fee for, because they don't pump out games that often. Call of Duty is the only annual franchise that these publishers release. A lot of them have a lot of service games that just kind of sit out there and collect money. And I think that's another appeal that Microsoft has. Like they got that kind of Minecraft thing where it just sits out there and just pumps in money from people like
Yeah,
that.
the revenues and it's nuts on those titles.
Yeah, just sit out there. But
and
like they are kind of black holes. They're not like these kind of like an Insomniac pumping out games every couple of years.
yeah,
Quality games
but
nonetheless.
what about the future of gaming though? I mean, although Microsoft now has, I mean, if and when presumably this deal gets approved by the DOJ, let's say it does, and they have all these extra publishers and studios under their umbrella. Are they set up for success for 10, 20 years down the line, or is Sony? Especially because we're currently in the early stages of Web 3.0, and I know I talked about this on the Saltiest Gaming podcast, but
Yeah.
we're currently in the early stages of Web 3.0, which is basically the metaverse in a sense, in that type of technology and that type of world with virtual reality and stuff. I mean, if you look at the future of what gaming is going to be and how your experience with gaming is going to change, Sony currently is set up for success for that. I mean, if they
Yeah.
reboot PlayStation Home with PSVR 2 and include like a metaverse style IP
Yeah.
with that technology, and even give it a PC, fine, PC here, you can have PSVR 2 also, and you can have some of the content, not all of it, but I guess some of it. I mean, Sony will clearly be set up for success for the future, and the adoption rate of this metaverse and this new technology in VR has skyrocketed over the last year and a half. I mean, look at the Oculus sales. I mean, they sold 10 million of those friggin' things, dude, in
Yeah.
1 year.
I know.
It's like, if I wish I had a graph in front of me, I'm sure it's like a crazy, like Dogecoin or whatever, like how fast it went up. Like just looking at that chart, it's like holy moly. So yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
You're right. Like the thing is like Sony definitely, has they have the capability of making making quality games and coming out there, and they do have a lineup and per se of games that are coming out like they have this year. The problem that I have with this whole thing is that if Microsoft corners them by buying all their third party, then all Sony has to rely on itself. They almost come like a Nintendo platform. And the fact is that they're the only one sustaining their own platform, and Microsoft's the one feeding them third party. So that's where I'm kind of like I get concerned with this move by Microsoft, and it's kind of cornering Sony in taking big franchises and third party. Like if we say they buy EA next, then they own all the sports games, and Sony just has MLB, which was the best selling game of the year according to Matt Piscatella, but the sports games. But it's just, I want the future of gaming that Sony's making. I don't want the Microsoft future, because that's an uncertainty in the fact that I fear that the games will be compromised for the service and not for the gamer. And them
Right.
buying, and the problem is that this migration to Game Pass, even though it's been 5 years or so, has not happened naturally. It hasn't happened with like, hey, Game Pass is doing so great, let's put our games there. Everything seems forced, seems paid. Everything seems rushed, and everything just seems like, well, if you can't join us, then we're just gonna buy you, and now you're gonna join us, and that's kind of the approach they're taking. They are trying to artificially accelerate this integration of Game Pass because it's not naturally happening, and you could tell. Just look at the numbers: 7 million. Phil was talking 2 billion gamers. And you're looking at a growth of subscribers of 7 million in a year after you're launching Halo and Forza. 10 million people were playing Forza. Like,
Yeah,
that's half
on
of the
top of
Game
that,
Pass people.
we're talking 2 billion PCs and how many billions of smartphones?
Yeah, and look at the fall off of Halo Infinite. All these people to play the games, it was accessible through a free-to-play service. It went from 272,000 on Steam to now 30,000. Not even 2 months after its release, and didn't even get a big bump when December 8th came and the campaign was out there. It didn't even shoot up again. The interest has just been dwindling. So you look and it's like, maybe because Halo wasn't a fully featured game, or it just doesn't have that appeal, but these games are everywhere. They're accessible through Game Pass. They're accessible for free. Why isn't it blowing up? And if it was, Microsoft will be touting that. And remember when they used to talk about like, oh, more people buy our games in Game Pass. Like it actually leads to more purchases and all this other shit. They never show the numbers. And
Yeah, no, that was BS.
and they buy Activision for $70 billion, and then they snowshoe goddamn 25 million subscribers. Because I'm telling you right now, if they just came out today and said 25 million subscribers in Game Pass, there would be a whole memes going on. Going, are you kidding me? You guys were saying 50 million by the end of the year. Last year they were, oh, it's at 40 million, 50 million. I mean, they didn't even crack 30 million. They went from 18 to 25 million in over a year after releasing their two biggest franchises. So that is not a growth that you want. So they had to make big moves. And if I go back to, let me see if I can even hear it. Let's see. This is Grinds Adamus. Where is it? Where is it? Like here and there, like
sorry guys, I need to head out. I just wanted to hop in.
Dave, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on.
Sure.
But yeah, hit that like button, Grinders. Thank you, Axel. But the big games, let's just hear one Grinds Adamus to wrap this thing up. They're working on. You know what every studio's working. Where it is. Here he is. Watch this.
So let's just say it can be wild.
This is a frog and a frog. When it's quiet, they don't like to strike with. Wait. Half the shit is a head scratch. Where is my prediction for this year? I'm gonna get it, guys. I put so many. I'm over 40 hours, 30 something hours. Wait a second, Grinds Adamus. What did I say? Where's my predictions? Well, no. I think they announced everything, so I think they're going to have to make a big move with Game Pass. Oh, here it is. Here, where they... Grinds Adamus, right, Grinders? Just December 24th, right? The December 27th, Grinds. Hit that like button. Listen to this. And they either double... Wait, here it is. So, like, you have another Zelda, you have another... Super Mario, world game, like a 3D one. They might do another one. Maybe make a co-op. That would be pretty awesome. So that's my Nintendo one. They're coming out with a new Mario game, co-op. Third person. Hit that subscribe. Microsoft announced. There it is. I think they're going to announce. Well, no, I think they announced everything. So I think they're going to do something with Xbox Live and Game Pass. I think it's done. I think this is the year they make their move. And they either double Xbox Live and say fucking suck it up, or they drop it and just say, guys, they're going to do something with their services this year where they're going to make the move. Because I think they kind of stayed stagnant and lost a lot of stuff this year with subscriber counts. I think the growth is kind of stagnating, and I think they really need to make that move. They're gonna have to make a big move with Game Pass, and I think one of it is just not gonna require online or some shit like that. They're going to double that Xbox
that'd
Live
be a
price.
huge move.
They're doing something. They got to, because they're gonna do something with Game Pass, and either and I think that's pretty general, but I do think that the Mario movie, yes, the Mario movie. But and also go along, exactly, the Mario movie go along with the Mario game. That's why another reason why I think that. Before I finish my Microsoft one, the Game Night 123 says, I don't know if Frogs, Naughty Dog with their job listings that have already been. That was a super chat. Thank you, Game Night. Get rid of gold.
You're my number one customer.
Or increase the price of Game Pass, but I don't think that's what they need to do. They need to grow it. And since they didn't talk about numbers this year at all, and they lost numbers because of the artificial inflation because of COVID. I think next year they're going to make that move. I think February was not the time to make that move. I think now with Halo out there, with Forza, everybody was ball washing Phil, and they got people on G4 sucking that Phil Ness juice. I think they think they're in the good faith.
Damn.
I think they're good in the good faith right now that they're ready to make a move to get people in there.
That Phil Ness juice.
There it is. They will make a move, and I think that next move is coming now that they got Call of Duty. They could leverage that Xbox Live real smooth right now. But this is a crazy day. I'm sure more to come. This is going to be in the news until we actually stop playing some real games. Can't wait, because that's what it should be all about, is just playing some great games and not this whole business stuff. But this is a big deal, and it's going to affect how we play games moving forward. And I want to thank we'll be here in the Grindhouse and experiencing it as we go through, and you'll be hearing our honest takes on it. But I want to thank everybody for coming to the show. Hit that like button. We had a huge show today, huge show last night. Thank you again to Who Are You for the amazing $100 Amazon giveaway. And this was just an impromptu show, and I want to thank everybody for coming in and supporting the channel. And we're just going to give it to you straight on how we feel and at the moment, and that's the way it is.
That's the bottom line. That's how it is.
That's how it is. No spin. No, this is the way it is. And I just don't want everything to become a service, and I don't like somebody controlling the whole gaming industry. But
definitely don't want everything to become a service.
Yeah, and thank you, Frogs, for coming on, and thank you, Axel. But everybody, hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe if you're new, and if you want to support the channel, hit that join button for the Gaming Grindhouse and be a VIP grinder. Thank you again, everybody. Talk to you guys soon. See you on the Twitter worlds. It's crazy over there. We're out.
Peace.